Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the BJJ Foxcast. I am your host, Alex Martinez, and I don't have a voice today. And today, I'm really excited to have my friends from the Shortest Hour podcast. I have, to my left, what's your name again? Jeff? I have Jesse, I have Vic, and I have Josh on the show. And it took me a little while to get the names down, but guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, so tell me how the podcast is going. You guys are listed as a comedy podcast, right?
Are we?
Yeah.
Yep.
But you're doing.
Who would listen to that?
No, but you're listening. You guys got good interviews going. Like, how do you pick guests? Or do guests like me? I just invited myself.
We just know people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just kind of talk about who might be interesting to come on.
Okay.
You know, and then
we just
invite
ask
them.
Okay.
We all met through jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So I think it's you just meet interesting people. Like we had Shane the pilot.
Yeah, the U2 pilot.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He trains with us. You know.
He did.
Nice.
Jared Cannonier.
Yeah.
We got to mention that.
So these guys all started at the lab, so they know all those fighters and things like that.
Nice. Now, who is still training at the lab? Raise your hands. Anybody?
I still have a membership there.
Okay. So technically, you still belong there. Let's talk about M1 BJJ.
I have a
What
membership
do you
there
want to talk
too.
about?
Let's talk about where you are first off, because you're in a temporary location.
We are.
Right. So tell me about the temporary location.
We're in the old Lotus Club spot. So where Lotus Club kind of started out was one small spot on 107th Avenue, Union Hills, and when they grew, they kind of expanded to the next few spaces. I think they outgrew that space because it was two separate spaces, and they were running classes on one side and classes on this side. I'm not a big fan of the current layout with there's one door, there's two small windows. The parents really can't watch. Parents love to watch the kids, learning and training. They want to see where their money's going.
Sure. Yeah.
So I actually let all the parents come in and I let them sit down on the mat and watch kids class.
Yeah.
So we've been there since June 1st as we moved into a bigger spot because we were on a really small red square in the initial Lotus Club location. And it was probably, how many square feet you think that small little square was?
250 or something.
Wow.
It was tiny.
250 square feet.
Okay.
It was real small. Because Liberty Wrestling was renting out a space that the larger Lotus Club space. Their booster club started renting a space during COVID because you couldn't train at the school and there's a lot of eyes. So the booster club started renting the larger space. I think that larger space is probably what do you guys think?
It's pretty big. It's probably 1,500, maybe.
Maybe bigger than that. Like the mat space alone is probably 1,600 square feet.
Yeah.
Because they let us use their wrestling mats. So it's one full circle. I don't know how many, seven lines of mats that make that circle that they would use for high school wrestling tournaments.
Okay.
So they're letting us use it, but they don't have anywhere to put it. So it's kind of a win-win situation for both of us.
Yeah, that's great.
So we're waiting for our space to get built. We met with the general contractor last week to kind of find out what we're responsible for. Like there's 11 items on the list that we're responsible for doing, like flooring and we're responsible for a room. But we're going to put a bid in to do a lot of that work ourselves because my partner is the general contractor.
That's great. Yeah.
So we're going to put a bid in to do the flooring, finish the bathroom, do the drywall. Because behind the wall mats, we got to put that it's like particle board or plywood, whatever, behind it. So it gives the wall mat some backing.
Yeah.
And we got to put in a bid to do all that work ourselves because I think we got $20,000 in TI.
Yeah.
And tenant improvement funds for you guys that are looking to make your own gym. They give you funds to improve the space, but we can't use any of that money on mats.
Right. It's got to be all for the they call it the building envelope, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're buying 2,600 square feet of mats.
Wow.
And that's with wall mats and floor mats.
Okay. So floor mats would probably be around 1,800 square feet? No.
No, the floor alone is.
Oh, okay. I thought
for the whole space and the 3 combat rooms is 2,600 square feet.
No shit. Wow, that's awesome.
And then the walls that go around that. So
wow,
you will see it when it's done.
I can't wait.
Me too. So we're hoping. We were hoping August, but it's probably going to look at September, because they put up the demising walls that separate our spaces, and now they got to build interior walls, and then it should be quick with plumbing and electrical because we can't do the plumbing ourselves. You have to be a licensed commercial plumber. we don't have a commercial plumbing license.
Yeah.
And the electrician is going to have to say, hey, where do you want all your outlets to be?
Yeah.
Because we're putting 2 big-ass fans in there.
Yep.
Literally called big-ass fans.
Yep. I know the company.
The 10-foot fans, because I like air to circulate
Yeah.
when you're training.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You see all this training where the windows are all steamed up and fogged up and the mats are all wet. I really don't want to kind of avoid that.
Yeah, and it's also like an athlete safety thing, right? I mean, if somebody stands up and they slip, and
Yeah.
I mean, they could get
Your
hurt.
ankle, your
Yeah.
knee, and we have older grapplers. You know, you're
Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
We're in a stable. We used to be like a giraffe falling out of the mom's vagina.
Yeah. So, are you all going to be training at M1, or what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Did I put you guys on the spot, or what? Everybody got quiet.
Well, I'm
Nobody listens to this podcast. I have like 12 listeners.
I just looked at Jesse.
Why are you looking at me? I'll be there to hang out, but
You're not
we'll
training?
see. Yeah, why not?
There you go.
I'll train a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
So Vic and his family was actually member number 2.
Okay.
So I have a family plan that I'm going to do. If you have 3 members or you have 3 people signed up in your family, you're going to pay only for essentially for 3, but anyone else over that comes for free. So you got 5 people, the 2 extras can train for free, and it's going to be $89.25 a week. So I'm charging weekly.
Okay. Yeah.
I kind of heard that John Capreau is doing that weekly charge. Are you doing the same
I do
thing?
that. Yeah. I charge weekly.
So at the temporary space, I'm charging people $30 a week.
Mm-hmm.
At the new space, it's going to jump to $40 a week.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I think is kind of the norm around the valley. Guys are charging about $160 a month.
Yeah.
But I heard Q's is bumping up to $250 a month.
Yeah. Yeah. They do some discounts. But yeah, if you walk in cold, probably it's going to be about that much per person.
Ask Dayberry. He trains there.
Yeah.
He got his black belt from Queixinho
Nice.
a little while ago.
I think you were there, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
Oh, good thing you got to see it. We all missed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know about it, or else we would have went and supported our friend.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it either.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
the thing, right?
He does it by surprise.
Yeah.
So
That's something that, like, I run into that issue all the time when there's no right way to do a promotion. I think the coolest way is to be like training with your friends, and then the music stops, the training stops, and everybody's like, what the fuck's going on? And he's pulling out a black belt, and you're like, whoa, no shit, right? But then, family wants to be there. Sure. When you do a kids promotion, it's almost like you got to contact each parent individually so that you make sure they show up so you can promote the kid. And because if you do those by surprise, and you've got, the grandmother wanted to be there and the uncle wanted to be there, and you didn't tell us, and there's just no right way to do it.
I don't think his was a surprise. Mine was a surprise promotion, but I don't think that there was promotion night.
Oh, okay.
So
okay,
they did a bunch, right?
it was like a Saturday.
And did you think hey, this could be my night? Or
No. I told Q because I do photography.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'll come in, take pictures, do whatever, and come hang out. So
Yeah.
I brought my camera and I was running around there taking pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was the last promotion. And when he said my name, I thought it was going to be the guy next to me because he was talking about MMA and stuff. And I've trained a lot of MMA over the years. And there was a dude next to me who was, used to be a fighter and all this stuff. And so I'm like, it's you, I'm like elbowing it. Cool,
Yeah.
man. And then he said my name and I was like, fuck.
How do you say it?
I don't remember.
How does he say your name?
Yeah, how do you say your name?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I
mean, he calls me Josh.
Like,
What do you mean?
Is it with an accent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always sounds cooler with the accent.
Yeah, I can't do a Portuguese accent.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, one person at a tournament said, he says, Alexander, how do you say it? He said, Machinez. And I'm like, please say that again. That sounded so fucking cool in the way other people say it. And he wouldn't do it. He thought I was fucking with him. I wasn't. But yeah. So when did you get into photography? I didn't know that.
I started tinkering with it a couple years ago.
He started OnlyFans.
Yeah, there you go. There
It's
you
hard
go.
to take nudes with a camera phone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
But it's cool, man. Photography is weird because you talk about you start talking about photography and let's say you got a fox up here on your thing. Well, to take that picture, it's actually really difficult.
yeah.
There's a lot of work that goes into being able to take a picture, and it's all about light and
Yeah.
how it affects the the composition. I mean, there's so much to it.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting getting into it for sure.
Yeah, that was taken by a guy. He lives in Alpine. My in-laws have a cabin out there, and we go 4th of July. We're going next week, and I bought that that flag. He made that. No, a different person made that flag, and there was a photographer there. He's got some amazing photos, man. Black bear and elk and stuff like
if you're
that.
taking
Really cool.
like wildlife photos like that,
Yeah.
like you need giant lenses,
Yeah.
man.
That was with his iPhone in the backyard.
Yeah, baby.
Switch it to 4K.
Yeah.
There you go. Get
Yeah.
that.
You'll catch some of the guys walking around in tournaments and stuff, right? They got like the 2 foot long
Yeah.
lens, where they got to zoom in really far.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't have the patience for it, man. Like, there's all kinds of settings and shit. Like, I got a camera here somewhere, but I bought one, and there's a PDF that you can buy that tells you like what settings to put on. I get too frustrated. I just use my phone.
Yeah.
Don't tell my wife.
It's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, is to just use a phone. Because the thing is with a camera though, is like once you understand what settings affect what, then it's easy.
Yeah.
You just have to. It's just like a learning curve.
Yeah,
like anything.
but how steep is that learning curve for stupid people? Because I still don't.
If
know.
I can do it, I mean, we're doing all right. Yeah, anybody can do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm doing all right with it. So.
Okay. Were you guys at the tournament this weekend? Yesterday?
Oh yeah.
Dude, that was the biggest friggin' tournament I've ever seen locally.
Is that where your voice is shot?
Yeah. I had Robert was this guy Robert Mendoza. He's one of my white belts. He was the last guy to go.
What time did he go?
It was like 6:30, something like that, 6:45. And I was yelling at him, and I yelled, "Don't make me repeat myself. I don't have a voice anymore." Because he wouldn't listen. That fucking. He was tired. I'll give him that. But yeah, that was huge.
The best though.
What's
This
that?
is the
Yeah.
best one that they've ran. I like that they separate the 3 mats.
Yeah.
For each corner.
Yeah, and the difficult part was as a coach. Like you're in the bullpen looking for your person, and they're in the wrong bullpen. Now you got to go find them, right? You're texting people like, but that happened several times, and some of the mat coordinators did an amazing job because there's so many fucking people. How many coaches does one person need? By the way, that coaches area was ridiculous, man.
I don't know.
Like coaches got to get the hell out of there.
In the middle area.
Yeah, in the middle.
Yeah.
It was awful.
I mean, Jenelson had Aleph and Livio coaching him.
Yeah, at the same time.
He did.
Yeah.
Damn, man.
I saw a coach standing on the mat yelling, like standing up on the mat.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like we're ruining like a really good idea.
Yeah.
The coaches are ruining it.
And yeah, you're right. They're taking advantage of a really good spot to watch.
Yeah.
You're not around a bunch of parents because as a coach myself, it's nice just being able to stay in there and not have to deal with a million questions. And
Yeah.
Where do you weigh in and where's that?
Right.
And, you can focus on your people that are about to go. You can hop around from bullpen to bullpen, but then people just sit in there forever.
Yeah.
And ever and never leave. So it's a good idea, but I think people need to get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so loud you can't even hear. You can't hear your coach
anything.
anyways.
Yeah.
So I think it's better to have a coach on the outside and a coach on the inside.
Yeah.
Because once they get close to that wall, you can't hear what the hell.
Impossible.
Because all the parents are yelling, "Stand up, Cletus," or whatever the fuck they're screaming.
Yeah.
Because they're yelling it from the bleachers.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
10 feet away from where they're even asking. Like, I don't know. It's people need to shut the hell up at tournaments.
Yeah. I had one of my purple belts standing on the opposite side where I was, and I would just look at her and like mouth what I'm trying to say, and she would tell him. The biggest thing was like, "You're up 7-0, do nothing." It's like less than a minute left. It's like, do nothing. And but I don't know. People
Do
never
you
listen.
feel like that's hard advice to give?
Do nothing is hard to give. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. I want them to finish, but I mean, you also got to manage the match. You got to, the thing about tournament jiu-jitsu, I'll go on a soapbox real quick. That 5-minute timer ruined a lot of things in jiu-jitsu, right? It really ruined like the heart of it, right? Because it's about like, you're going to overpower me, but I'm going to buy my time till you get tired, and I'm going to fuck you up at the end, right? Sure. But that's what the 5-minute timer took away. Like, you got to do something. Like, no, don't take any damage, right? And grind your way on to the next win. No one cares how you won it. Just win it, right?
Because now the tournament will go till midnight.
But that means that the tournament, the most important thing is to win. It's not to perform.
100%. 100%.
You think
no,
that's true?
Absolutely. I mean, win by advantage, you still get the win.
Right.
You don't have to win by 100.
Right.
And if you submit everybody that day, that's awesome. But 2 days later, no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
So it sucks, right? There's a lot of good things about tournaments because you can see in real time what people are and aren't doing. But there's a downside to having that 5-minute timer or 6 minutes or whatever it is,
Sure.
Yeah. I think. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think?
Yeah. put a fucking timer on there. Let's get this shit going.
Yeah.
Should be 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
What?
Oh,
3 minute
man,
round?
that's a
No way.
sprint, dude. I couldn't sprint that hard.
Why not? I bet you matches would be faster and like there'll be submissions going on a lot sooner.
You think in 3
Oh, yeah.
minutes?
Oh,
A lot more risk taken for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
It would make ultra matches easier to watch.
It'd be fun.
Oh God.
No offense to all the ultras out there,
Barely.
but my God.
Because there are people that like to play on their back
Yeah.
in open guard and just sit on their back and don't try to get up. Try to go for a sweep from a fucking what the hell lasso, leg lasso. What the hell is that shit you guys called?
Spider lasso.
Spider. Yeah, like they'll sit there and they'll wrap that shit up. That'll fail and then go back to this side and like I think it would help with intense. The intensity of the roll would be improved if you would find a way to speed that shit up.
Yeah.
And make more people want to watch it.
Yeah.
Make it more interesting.
It
Like
would be
wrestling
interesting.
is
3 minute
fast.
match. That'd be so much fun to watch.
Well, I think you run into the issue too at the end of a tournament when you're in the finals, right? And let's say you had 5 matches total in your division. Like that's a lot of fucking time on the mat. If
Yeah.
every one of let's say every one of those went 10 minutes and you're in the adult.
If you know,
know,
you're in a
it's like-
big bracket though, and you're good enough to finish them, then finish them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like
I mean-
if you know you have 6 matches that day, you need to go.
Yeah.
Like it to get to the
Yeah,
finals.
because your
Yeah.
grips are going to be shot at the end of
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
2 and you're 16 minutes in.
Yeah.
How long are the black belt matches? 8 minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yeah. Brown is 8
Okay.
for
Yeah.
adult.
for adults.
for
yeah.
adult, yeah.
But for masters is
All masters
five.
is 5, yeah.
Yeah. I think they try to change, like, they were talking about doing like a 6-minute match for like brown and black belts for a while, but that never happened.
And what's the difference at that
Not
point?
much. Yeah, not much. But like when I'm playing, I feel attacked with a spider lasso, by the way. But like when I set up my guard, when I'm playing my guard, it takes me about a good 2.5 minutes to set it up.
Really?
Yeah, from the guard pull till an attack, about 2.5 minutes.
Do you feel like you have to slow the match down first before you can set it up?
Sometimes. Like a lot of times because of my age, I got to go down in age and sometimes up in weight. So I'm not going to go force on force with somebody bigger than me, especially younger. So I got to slow play, and I've got to just frustrate them and grind it out. And then once they make a mistake, hips come up, or whatever. That's when I go for my
Can't do
either
that at
sweep
5
or-
minutes. Can't do that with 3 minutes.
No, I can't. That's why I'm against. I don't like your idea.
You got to be able. You got to train to get the idea.
Shut up,
Ooh,
Dick.
ouch, ouch.
He always does that.
It's cold in here. You were worried about it being hot in here. It's cold in here.
I know it's getting
Cool,
hold.
cool. So do you get disappointed when your students lose?
No,
No?
no.
You don't give them like a pep talk?
You know,
Like, hey, you fucked up?
no. I think the most important bit of coaching you can do is the 10 seconds after they leave, after they walk off the mat after a loss. That's probably the most important coaching. Far beyond the pep talk before, the coaching during, what I kind of hear anyway. But right after a loss, that's really important because you're caught up in that moment too, right? You're frustrated as well, and you internalize as a coach. I internalize a lot of stuff, like what am I not doing right? How did I screw this up? And you got to tell your student, like, hey, this is a process, especially when they're like in a really, really super competitive division. You got people in there that have been like, for instance, I've got people that started jiu-jitsu in their maybe early 20s, right? They're going against like people that just came out of the juvenile division, right, into adult, and they're badass purple belts. They're badass blue belts, right? And it's a growing process against those guys. They're black belts. I mean, figuratively, right?
These
So they
kids
started
who are
when
coming out?
Yeah, they're like 5. They've been trained since they were 5 years old.
Yeah.
So you got to. I mean, we're all behind, right? I mean, compared to them, because they talk about getting a black belt. They talk about getting a black belt and how difficult it is and how few people get one. And it's true, right? Very few people get one. But think about like people that start when they're 5 years old. I wonder what that number is. Can you even calculate what a kid that started at 5 and got a black belt?
Yeah.
That's got to be like,
Even if a kid started at 5 and he
0.00.
got a purple belt,
yeah,
the kid's a monster.
absolutely. And
Once
there's very
the
few.
That's all he
physicality,
knows.
once the physicality comes in,
Yeah.
because that's where that's the only thing they lack at that point,
Yeah.
because it's been like drilled into their I don't know, it's just been drilled into their heads so much,
Yeah.
like those neural pathways are just flowing,
Yeah.
and you can't stop it.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, and this is like I think about this stuff all the time. I think about like what obviously because like what's the next class going to be, like curriculum stuff. It's always going through my head. They just show up and play, and it's brutal, man. I mean, they're so freaking good, man. Like, I don't know, it's
Well,
gonna
how
be.
old was Josh Cisneros when he got his black belt? 19.
I think it was 19. Yeah,
So he had
maybe
been
20,
probably
maybe
training
20,
for.
I think he
way.
started at like 12. Started training at 12, and because his family, he's got a lot of brothers, so they were big wrestlers.
Okay.
So he made a decision maybe I want to say 7th grade, where he was like, no more wrestling. He's just jiu-jitsu. So, and that's where it took off. But he and his brother just got his black belt, and they would train. They would get up early, train in the morning, go to school, ride their bikes to the academy, and stay there till it closed. That was their life.
Must be nice. I gotta fucking pay bills.
Yeah,
but raise kids.
But think about it this way: how many 10, 12-year-olds would do that? Very few, man.
Yeah,
they want to go home and play video games, shit like that. They, I don't. It's a special kind of person that can do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Bro, by the time he's fucking your age, he'll be a black belt for 30 years.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, me too.
He's got a chance at red belt, bro.
40.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
got a
he's got a
chance at
shot.
red belt.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be dead, but
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. What's the competition gonna be like after in their 30s?
Yeah.
It's gonna be ridiculous.
Well,
gonna
you
be
look at you.
insane.
That scares me, right? I just turned 40, and I'm got a black belt. If I I think about tournaments. I don't really compete anymore, but I think about tournaments. If I were to go join a tournament right now, right? There's going to be Josh Hinger there, or there's going to be, these monsters, guys who have been competing at the highest level for decades.
Yeah.
Are going to be in your division.
He's probably not going to sign up for the Arizona BJJ.
Nah, but if I signed up IBJJF,
But it-
you go to San Diego.
Go
and you
to
sign
Master
up.
Worlds.
Master Worlds.
So Master Worlds, I was in the bracket. So I lost my quarterfinal match. No, it was a qualifier. The quarterfinal match would have been against a guy that I have a photo with as a white belt and a blue belt at his seminar.
Oh, I saw that post.
Yeah. And it was like, I'm geeking the fuck out in the bullpen. I was like, I can't believe I'm in the same and I couldn't wait to fight him, right? Obviously, I mean, that's the goal. I never got to achieve it, but I mean, I YouTube the guy. I've been to his seminars. I follow the guy closely, and he's in my bracket. So you're right. It's pretty difficult, man.
It's pretty cool though, because
Yeah.
you don't ever see yourself in that position,
Right.
when you first start.
Yeah.
You're like, these guys are they're on a pedestal,
Yeah.
right? And you see them up there, and you're like, man, I could never be there.
Yeah.
But then you just spend 10, 12, 15 years, whatever it is, doing the thing, and then you're like, holy shit, maybe I am
I was a black
okay
belt
enough.
when I
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
Of course they more than likely are going to be on another level, right?
He's got 15 years of black belt, and I just got it.
Yeah.
at competition at that.
Yeah. The guy I lost to had 4 stripes on his black belt, and it was like 1 advantage to 0. It was it was close. So I hate losing. I really, really hate losing, but I got to take that one. That's not bad. Yeah.
Eat it on the chin, man.
Yeah,
That's how it is.
yeah.
I mean, Stuart Cooper did grappling industries last time he was here in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
kidding. Okay. That's
Dude,
cool.
Saw the
fucking
guy in 8 seconds.
Cyborg is doing grappling industries now because he got suspended.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
He's got to do something.
He's got all
right?
kinds of videos online of him at grappling industries in
Yeah.
Nokia. I'm like, this is not right.
That's wild,
This
man.
is not okay.
Grappling industries probably paid him.
Probably.
I mean, I can imagine, right? I mean,
Yeah.
a few $1,000 to
I mean,
show.
he's still going to be competing at ADCC and all
Is
that.
that looked down upon?
What's
To-
that?
To go to a smaller tournament if you're that big of a competitor?
Well, if you're a multiple time IBJJF world champion and you're an ADCC guy and all that, yeah, I would imagine it.
What if he just likes the competition?
What
What if he likes the attention?
But the question would be, did he do it before his suspension? The answer is no.
Yeah.
Right? So there's got to be something to it. So, yeah, didn't mean to shut that one down, man. Sorry.
No, I'm just. I don't know. I would just do everything.
Yeah.
Well, it's those guys. I mean, when you're talking about guys who are doing it for a living,
Yeah.
every match is a risk.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of matches are dependent on a ref.
Yes.
So you go in and you got some subpar referees potentially, or you have some guy who's just going to try to rip a heel hook as hard as he can in a weird position. You could end up getting hurt, and then your moneymaker's dead for 6 months.
Yeah.
If
If you're lucky. If
Yeah.
you're lucky 6 months.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And he's, 40?
Yeah,
right?
he's 40.
So he's not going to heal like he used to.
correct.
Yeah. Well, he's got some, supplemental help, but
Acai.
and that's another thing about Master World, man. You go up to the podium, you can smell the steroids. I mean, those guys are, dude, a 55-year-old should not be ripped. I'm sorry. You can be in shape.
You're ripped.
I'm not ripped.
You're ripped.
I look good in a t-shirt,
You're totally
homie.
fucking ripped.
You got
No.
bicep veins, bro.
I
Who
look
you
good in a
talking to?
t-shirt, but no, these guys were their abs were I'm like, oh my
You're on that
God.
Joe Rogan thing, aren't you?
Dude, did you see my supplements down in the kitchen? But let's talk. Let's get back to your podcast. What's the goal? What's the end goal for that podcast? I'm sure you guys started as like, hey, this would be fun, but you guys are deep into this shit, man, and you're very consistent. So what's the goal?
There is no goal.
Come on.
There's
No
no
go.
Like literally, the whole goal was just to hang out with my friends.
Okay.
And record it.
Yeah, but
that's it.
But you can still. I mean, do you want to monetize?
No, I don't
It's
care.
not run like a business.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not run like a
I
business.
honestly, I think for me, it's so when my daughters grow up to be like 30, 40, they can play all the shit and be like,
Yeah,
hey, that's my dad.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so I think it's going to be a time capsule for them,
I love it.
and they'll hear about all of them growing up, you know, through my point of view.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be in the end game. That's what I.
How much
would
of
love
your
for them.
kids do you really talk about?
Well, no, it's just so they can say like,
No,
hey,
yeah.
that's my dad.
They're
It's
gonna
what-
listen to us talking about dicks the whole time.
Yeah.
yeah. But like,
So my dad.
that's how you.
He found his entrance.
Yeah.
It's always about sex with you. Golly.
We're wondering who's gonna bring up dicks first.
Yeah,
and
we're
Josh
trying.
is the
We're
first
we're
one.
trying. We're trying to decide who was going to be first.
No, but it'd be cool. Like my daughter's 3. You know, when she's 30, like, hey, you know.
You think it's
this
still
is
gonna be
my
on
dad.
Spotify when she's 30?
It'll probably be implanted in her fucking head.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, about that point.
Just download everything in
But
the fucking head.
that's part of the reason. Like at a very like early in my fatherhood days, you know, my fatherhood, I started journaling because maybe someday they'll give a shit and want to read it, right? And that's why exactly why I do this, because I mean they may
that-
want to listen to it.
Yeah, well, I also started email for my daughter, so when, you know, I could write her letters, and then when she's 15, you know, be like, hey, here's your email address. Check out all this shit. And
Oh,
like,
so cool.
so when it's just like little journals that I can write to her.
Yeah.
From my age now to where she's at, like, hey, look, this is you at 2.5, 3 years old. We're at Disneyland. Look at you, you know, stuff like that.
That's
So,
great, man.
You know, and then the podcast, she'll have that later on. But yeah, just the initial part was just to hang out with my friends and have a good time.
That's
And
cool.
that's what we do.
What if she doesn't like her email name?
Oh, good call.
It's real basic.
What is it? Just kidding.
Don't say it on the podcast.
Yeah, my 12 listeners will start emailing her.
No, but no, it was just for fun. You know,
Okay.
Josh brought up the idea and we talked about it a little bit, and I was like, fuck it, let's do it. And we waited a little bit, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. I bought everything. I bought all the equipment, and I was like, let's do this. And then, you know, Jeff came along, and then Vic came along, and now it's what it is.
I got
You know?
invited from a toilet.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
That
We
was
called him when he was
literally-
going to the bathroom. It was great. That was like a 5-minute segment with Vic on the
And
toilet.
I have a few fans too.
Nice.
Yeah.
He does.
He actually does.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scotty B loves me. Shout out to Scotty B.
All right.
Yeah, some of my daughter's friends, my 18-year-old daughter, some of her friends listen, and they love Vic.
Nice.
I don't know why, but
Yeah,
Do you
he's-
guys
Vic is
get
emo?
Do you guys get people coming to you and saying like, hey, you know, I heard your podcast, I love it, stuff like that? I mean, that's kind of cool, right?
a couple people that we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still neat. Like somebody listens. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, we had a guy on Scotty B, which is one of our friends of ours that we met from the lab, and he actually wrote me a message like, hey, man, like, your podcast is so much fun. I love listening to it.
Yeah.
So it's just words like that. It just makes me want to continue doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That dude drove all the way from Tijuana
he
to
did.
be on our podcast.
Yeah,
No
he
way.
did.
Literally
drove-
just
he
to be on the
listened-
podcast and then drove home.
Yeah.
Then drove right back to Tijuana afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were like, bro, why didn't you tell us? We could have like put you
We-
up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No, we
So
thought
he
like,
didn't tell you. He just drove.
yeah.
Yeah.
we thought
we-
because he used to live here, so
Yeah.
we thought he was like visiting people, hanging out
Come
for the
train.
weekend.
Yeah.
No, he said I just drove straight from Tijuana to your house. Now I'm gonna drive back.
Yeah,
after
he's
the
like,
program.
we got to drive back because we got to take the kids to school in the morning.
Holy shit!
what?
Jeff
dude.
comes in my house. You know, you've been to my house.
Yeah.
So Jeff comes in. He's like, "There's a girl just chilling in a car in front of your house." and Scotty was like, "That's my wife." I was like, "Well, fucking get her,
Bring her in.
Bring her in here."
Oh my
inside.
gosh, that's
Scotty,
so funny.
Scotty was cool, man. He's actually he trained with us at the lab.
Okay.
And for a long time he lived in a van, and he just drove around the country training at different gyms.
Yeah, you want
That
a
was
story?
his whole thing. He's so cool, like such a nice guy. And now he trains mostly at 10th Planet in San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he was training with Keenan Cornelius. He was actually teaching at his gym for a little while
Wow,
and stuff.
okay.
So.
Well, but he got
Didn't he go
hired.
to AOJ for a while?
No.
No.
No, he went to Keenan's. He got hired as their janitor.
He did.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, even our janitor is a black belt.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, then he ended up teaching classes and stuff there too. So
Yeah.
Scotty's super cool guy, really interesting guy.
So is he one of those guys that lives in TJ and works
Yeah.
in San Diego?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're calling it San Diego South or something like that. So so I got a guy out of Tucson. He started his own little like a production company, and he wants to do like freelance editing. So I just upload the stuff to a file, and then it magically gets downloaded to everything. So I don't really see it until it's downloaded. But yeah, I got to upload all of the data, and he does the rest. And so if you guys are looking for somebody, I think it's like Huckleberry something LLC. I'll give you his contact.
Maybe when we start doing video, because that's just gonna take too much time.
Way too much time.
Yeah,
none of us have time to do that.
I don't have.
Yeah, Jesse apparently edits our stuff now, but I haven't.
It's just
never
all
seen
audio.
any
It's
editing.
easy.
Yeah.
It's editing. He doesn't know. He's just talking out of his ass.
Audio's easy.
Yeah, it's very.
Video's very.
What
very
made you
difficult.
want to start a podcast?
I was drunk,
Nice.
and I was sitting in my backyard with my buddy.
As all good stories start.
Yeah, I was sitting in the backyard with my buddy, and this is 2020, and I said, "Man, we should do a podcast." And he's like, "Yeah, all right." And then 2 years later, we hit record. Like
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years later. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'd been playing with the idea, and then I think I told you guys. I think I said the story on your podcast. I was at Milton Bosto's place in Nashville, and sitting in his living room. We were about to have dinner, and talking to this guy about he worked in the music industry, and he was like, "Oh, I do beats and stuff like that." I was like, "Hey, can you do a beat for a podcast?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think I can do that." And he goes, "For whose?" And I'm like, "Mine." And then my wife just looked at me, and I was like, "Yeah, as soon as we get back." So that's how it happened. And I did the same thing. Like I just started YouTubing and Googling, and I started buying shit.
How did she take that?
She was cool.
She was
She's
so cool
dude.
about it?
I'm telling you, man. Like she's way too supportive.
Oh,
Way too supportive. Like to the point where I'm like, "Are you out of your fucking mind? Don't let me do this."
this is expensive.
It's fucking
Makes
expensive.
you
Yeah.
second guess yourself.
Yeah.
She's so supportive.
And she's cool, man. She's like, "Yeah, if you think that's what you need, go get it." I'm like, "God damn it, you got to talk me out of this stuff, you know?" But yeah, so I started like YouTubing like how to do lighting, and it's not perfect because I don't have the height on the ceilings, but it's
good.
pretty close.
Yeah, it's good.
And then audio is really hard, so I just rely on the editor guy to kind of play with the audio. But you guys are pros, so this is going to be really easy for them. It's the people that sit like this and they can hear themselves.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's fine, So, but yeah, and then I started looking for guests, right? And so I run at the time I was doing the podcast. I had a full-time job, and I was running the academy, right, with my partner. So I had to be really careful with my time. I had to really track my time. So I would catch myself like going through like YouTube and bullshit, and I'm like, fuck. So I caught myself on Facebook, scrolling, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna scroll, I'm gonna find somebody to get on the show, and that's how I got Chris Howder on the show. So he had posted something like a minute before, and I messaged him, and he replied, and he's like, yeah, just contact my wife, and gave me her number. So then we started going back and forth. And then from there, I got Richard Bressler, and then I got this guy, Scott Burr. Shit, I got to call Scott today. Anyway, Scott is a writer, and he co-wrote several jiu-jitsu books, including the one with Richard Bressler. And it's funny you talk about the Tijuana trip to your... So he was in California doing video with Hickson, and he contacted me, and he goes, hey, I know we're set up for a remote in whatever, but I'm going to be driving through Phoenix on this day if you want to do the podcast. I'm like, hell yes. Crazy. I thought, he's a writer and he's successful, and, no, the guy's like driving across the country. So here's how it worked. He had those Honda Elements. Mm-hmm. He had a Honda Element that died on him, and he's like in the Midwest, like Ohio somewhere. So he flew to Sedona, to Arizona, drove to Sedona with his buddy so he could buy another Honda Element that was running because he loves them.
Yeah.
And then he drove that to California.
Why Honda Element?
I don't-
By the way,
They're like big ass toasters.
It's a big ass.
this is the first Kia Soul.
You
is what
can
it
live in
was.
it. Like you can literally like lay the thing. It's like so you can camp and stuff.
Okay.
That's kind of what it's designed for. So he drove that to California, and then he hit me up and he's like, hey, how far are you from Joshua Tree? And I was like, I don't know. I looked it up and it was like 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
So I didn't know this, but he slept at Joshua Tree because he wanted to time it right when he would get here. And like, it was the weirdest thing because he's like, I'm going to be there at whatever time. And I'm like, you're going to have to wait a couple hours because I had an appointment, a really important that I could not miss. And so, yeah, I sent him to a coffee shop not too far from here. He sat for 2 hours, came in, did the show, and then he drove home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
nice
so
guy.
it was wild, man. And he's such a good dude, black belt in jiu-jitsu. And he's got a gi company, Black Market Kimonos. It's designed to
Look it up, Vic.
yeah, please, Vic. So it's designed so you could like pack real light. So it's all ripstop, and you can pack it like super compact. So people that travel like him, he's a road dog, man. He's all over the place. He packs really small. He can pack several gis where it would take us a whole freaking suitcase. He packs it really small. I think that's what it's called, Black Market Kimonos. And he brought one to the show, man. It's a good freaking gi.
Legit, huh?
Yeah, to travel with. So
Is it light?
yeah, super. I mean, it's all ripstop.
Yeah, you
it
can't
might weigh 2
compete on
pounds. He brought an A2. It might weigh 2 pounds.
It's not IBJJF.
No, no, absolutely. I think Kings had one like that for a little while. They discontinued because it's not IBJJF approved. but-
Hayabusa had one too.
Did they?
I owned one. It was a
Yeah.
piece of shit. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, did it rip up on
It
you?
did, it
yeah.
did,
But
yeah.
I mean, I think if you're traveling, right, if it's not your primary gi, that would be probably a good idea to have like in
Yeah.
the bag real quick,
I
right?
actually had two because they had to send me another one. So, yeah, and they both tore.
Yeah.
So I just
What
got
do
rid
you
of
wear now? What kind of gi do you wear now?
it. I like tatamis.
Tatamis? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, tatami or these guys just bought me a warrior, which I actually like.
War Tribe.
War
Or
Tribe?
War Tribe. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
War Tribe.
Yeah.
It's
It
actually
was for his
pretty good.
birthday.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
I
Happy
was thinking
birthday.
Warrior. They had these old. Do you remember Warrior? Did you ever hear about this? So Warrior was like they made like grappling shorts and
Okay.
stuff like that. And yeah, it was big in MMA for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
A long time ago.
I'm too big of a sissy. I won't do MMA.
I'm old. So I started training when I was 18.
Okay. Yeah. So you were dumb.
Seen
Yeah.
a lot of weird shit.
You were dumb. You were
I still am. We talked about this.
You know, my son is doing MMA and he's trying to line up an amateur fight. And when he started training, I was really worried because he's young and I'm like, brain damage kind of stuff. I mean, it's a reality, right?
Sure.
And I was like, okay, just promise me you won't take a fight till you're 25. Let your brain fully develop. And to his word, man. To his word. All right, 25, started looking for fights. So
Nice.
two of them, it's a typical amateur stuff. There's one lined up. You make all the plans to be there and then they cancel it.
Yep.
Or the guy pulls out or whatever. So, yeah. So he's
Yeah, that's pretty normal, man. Like that's I don't know. It's the sad part of MMA that people don't really know about.
Yeah.
Because you see the UFC and it's like
Yeah.
real professional and whatever, but the amateur scene is still such a wonky mess.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't run well.
Yeah. Well, my fear is that, how do you track an amateur's record? It's kind of like honor system, right?
Yeah.
And he has 0 fights, 0 amateur fights. And my fear is he's going to get somebody like 20. And they're going to say, oh, he's fought a couple times,
It's getting better, but the problem is you get guys who are really good at something and then they move into MMA. That's the scary part. So you'll get a guy who's like a world champion kickboxer, but then he moves in and he's 0-0 pro.
Yeah.
Right? But he
Yeah.
comes in and he kicks your head off.
Yeah.
There's some of that shit happens.
Are you allowed to be like a pro kickboxer and then be an amateur MMA fighter? Okay, you go automatically to pro.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm sure there's some guys who are finagling it.
Yeah, so
somehow.
my heart just stopped
I
when you
think all
said
this
that.
stuff
Oh,
is.
shit.
I think the internet provides a lot. So
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It's smoothed out a lot. Like back when I first started training, it was the Wild West. Because I was in the Midwest, and there was some there were some sketchy situations, man. Like I felt like every time we would show up to a show, like the team, there'd be fights, like not in the cage.
Yeah.
It was just normal.
Yeah.
Like everybody get all riled up and whatever. Like seeing dudes get their heads stomped on. We had one match where our buddy, God, I can't remember his name. I could see his face, but he was fighting, and he was fighting one of these dudes, one of the promoter's guys, and he was getting the break speed off him. He's tough as nails.
Yeah.
The kid was super tough. He was a wrestler, really scrappy guy, and so he was taking a beating, and then the time was supposed to run out, right? Like we're like keeping time in the corner, and they didn't stop it.
Oh,
they just kept letting it go.
shit.
And we're screaming. We're like, "Where's the fucking time?" Like what
Yeah.
is going? Because he was getting beat up.
Wow.
Like it was bad, but he didn't want to quit on himself, which is understandable.
Yeah.
And then eventually I think they ended up stopping the fight. But
Yeah.
it went like I think it was supposed to be. It was an amateur fight. I think it was supposed to be 3 minutes. I'm pretty sure it went like 5.5 minutes.
Oh, my God.
It went really long. And
How did they miss that though?
They didn't miss it.
Oh, okay.
It was just I'm sure the promoter was probably keeping time. It was like let it run.
Whoa.
You know.
Okay.
But this
Amateur
is
shit.
this is back this is when like you know who Josh Neer is? So Josh Neer fought in the UFC for a while. Like he was still an amateur.
Oh, okay.
So this was like that group of guys. it was weird, man. It wasn't ran great back then.
It's Iowa, so nothing.
Yeah, there was no
Okay.
commission in Iowa at the time. There was no athletic
So
commission.
it's free for all.
So it was a free for all. It was not, or I should say, it wasn't sanctioned. They
Yeah.
didn't sanction MMA
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was sketchy.
Wow. How long did you do that in Iowa?
I mean, I've trained
Since birth.
since I was 18. So, that scene that kind of where I'm from, the MMA scene kind of like dipped in and out, you know? So I wasn't a real big competitor. So for me, it was more about just training all the time. But yeah, we had guys who, I mean, from when I started 2001 up till we had a group of guys who probably trained till 2006.
Okay.
Something like that, where we trained pretty consistently.
Yeah.
Then it kind of dipped off, and now it's starting to come back over there, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's middle of nowhere, so
Sure. Yeah. What else are you gonna do? Is beat the shit out of each other?
pretty much,
Yeah.
man. Yeah,
Sounds like a good idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
Read a book. Fuck.
yeah, right. As many times as I've been punched, I can't read anymore. What are you talking about?
When's the last time you read a book, bro?
Shit, it's been a while.
How many half-read books do you have? Honestly, for the group.
I have 3 on my nightstand right now.
Half-read? Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
I
Yeah.
can tell you exactly what they are.
I download audiobooks
There you go. Yeah.
So-
I got a shitload of audiobooks. Yeah.
on my phone, so I listen to them while I drive.
Okay.
Right
That's
now,
cool.
I'm listening to Freakonomics,
Ooh. Okay. Right. What's that about?
economics, and
Yeah,
just
I figured.
like
But is it like? It sounds like porn economics. So.
yeah, pretty much. They just talk about stuff in relation to how things work on so the chapter I'm on right now is about test scores in public schools on what gives the teacher more reason to cheat for their students.
Oh,
So things
Okay.
like that.
that's cool. All right.
So all different types of shit.
Yeah. I've got Musashi on the nightstand.
Ooh,
I
nice.
go into that one about, I don't know, every 3-4 months. I read a chapter or two. That's like 2,000 pages. That's going to take me the rest of my life. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Miyamoto Musashi was an interesting guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good book. It's like, some fiction, obviously some shit made up, but it's a good book. Yeah.
Any nonfiction that's written by the person
Yeah.
it's about there's gonna be some fluff in there.
Sure. Yeah. Of
For
course.
sure.
Yeah.
What's the last thing you read? Penthouse?
Instagram, Facebook, just reading fucking articles on there. Like,
So what article did you read in which you found out that the Earth was flat?
I listen to a lot of
TikTok videos?
TikTok videos. Eddie Bravo was a good one to listen to.
Dude, I couldn't listen to him on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Really?
He's
Too
great.
much of a conspiracist, bro.
I fucking love it.
yeah,
He
you
takes it
gotta-
off
love
the
it.
rails, man.
Yeah, but you got to
love
listen
it.
around that. Like he's got a pretty good message, man. Like I like his story. Like rock band shit. It kind of makes sense how he's trying to grow the the jujitsu scene that way, and get people paid. I think that's important, man. It's important because I mean, how many injuries have you had? How much does jujitsu cost? Costs a lot of freaking money.
A lot.
It's
I don't
cost
know.
me a lot.
Just a membership.
It's free. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just get free
So-
training.
yeah.
So
Well,
he-
but wait till you get injured, and that shit ain't free.
So do you charge your instructors for a membership?
No,
Okay.
no. My instructors.
Do you charge black belts?
No. Well, if they're not teaching for me, yeah, they pay. Yeah, if they're regular members, they're just going to come in and train. I'll make exceptions if they're assisting. But really, if I see somebody that brings a lot of value, I'm going to invest in that person, right? And it doesn't matter what the belt is, right? But yeah, if somebody comes in, they just want to train and leave. Yeah, okay, cool, man. Just pay the tuition and we're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, my coaches don't pay, their families don't pay. Yeah. So I like to treat my coaches well, man. I just think they're such a big part of the team that, I mean, they are the school. Like if the vibe doesn't match, then why do it, right? So I like to take care of those guys.
Do you give them free merch?
They get cost. They pay
Okay.
cost. Yeah. And I'll be full disclosure, I don't pull shit off the rack either. I pay cost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything at the academy is accounted for. I run it like a business. I don't fuck around where, I forgot my shirt, I'll just grab one. No, I pay cost. Yeah. So it's just one of those things. I can't not do it. So yeah, anybody who's employed in the, that's my dog. He wants to come in. Anybody who's employed with me gets the same benefits I get basically.
You charge your friends for shirts and stuff?
If they're really friends, they'll buy the shirts.
Cool.
He just keeps shutting you down, Jesse.
Yeah,
You guys got
agree.
beef? Like,
I
what's
haven't
going on
got
here?
I haven't got my M1 BJJ shirt yet. And I thought I'd get a free shirt.
Well,
Yeah.
real friends pay a drop-in fee when they're not members.
But that's a difference. If I bring you a shirt, I'm not going to say, "Hey, this is $25," right? I'm going to say, "Hey, here's a shirt, man. I love you, man. Good shit." So that's very different, right?
Yeah.
That's very different. But off the rack, like I got lifelong friends, man. That'll be like, I try to give them discounts and they'll say no. Like they just want to pay. They pay tuition.
They want to
do
support you.
Sounds
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Sounds like a good friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's important because if you're gonna support a friend's gym or any kind of business, you can't expect to get that discount.
Right.
Right.
I mean, if they want to
right,
give it
Vic.
to you, then that's
Yeah.
fine.
But,
Yeah,
but,
Vic.
but if
But-
if you had a clothing line and I wanted to support you, like, what am I gonna ask for? 20% off? That's your margin, basically, right? That's stupid.
But
So
if you want them to be open, you gotta support.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I want you to succeed, right?
Yeah.
And if I have and if I have the income to give, I'll give it. Yeah.
And Alex actually said it best on the podcast. He said he's got to keep the lights on at the gym and he has to keep the lights on at home too.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah. Wow, you
I
listen to the
agree.
podcast?
Of course I do.
He just has really good
I gotta
memory.
watch what I say.
Would you give somebody who's got 50,000 followers on Instagram a free shirt?
Fuck yes.
Okay.
No,
But he's not your friend.
No. I'm just saying, like, if they came in, like, if somebody big time like came in and trained with us, I'd give them something to throw on if they would.
Would you ask him like, "Yo, can you put this on and you'll throw on
No,
Instagram?"
no, I would never
Tag me, bro.
Yeah, I would never do that. You know what? What I will ask, like, students who buy the merch, I'll ask them, like, wherever you go, like, if you're wearing the shirt, please take a
tag.
photo. Like,
Yeah.
if they're in Spain or Hawaii or
That'd be
something, like, that's
cool.
kind of cool, right?
Just so you can reshare it.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
it,
So it's kind of like a tricky thing because in my heart, like, I want to give, but I got to keep the lights on, right?
No, I get you.
And it's not. I hate to say it's not about the money, but it really is. Like you're doing this for a living, right? So
That's how you get paid.
yeah, and you know what's funny? I have a friend who's was in your line of work. She's a tattoo artist.
Okay.
And people don't know like the etiquette, and I don't either, right? But I always ask, like, it's just like going to a restaurant. You pay 20% to 25% for your food that you're already paid for, that they're making margin on, but you want to tip the person, right? Because they're doing a good job. So if you have a tattoo artist, like, what is the etiquette for a tattoo artist when you're paying them, like, I don't know, $250 an hour and they're done? What's the tip?
$250.
Yeah.
Just pay him another hour.
Another hour? Yeah. Yeah.
That's the etiquette.
See, but I didn't know that, right?
No.
And that's
But
really
you're
good
not
that-
you're not in the industry,
I'm
so
not.
you don't
Yeah.
know. But the good thing is you asked.
Yeah.
Because you want to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You want to know.
What if your tattoo artist charges by day and it doesn't matter how many hours they spend on your tattoo?
You just
Oh, shit,
whatever you think is best.
Well, you can still break that up by hour, though.
See, the thing is, I can't afford
You
to
can.
pay my friend for a day.
I didn't want to say it, but
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm too expensive for my friends.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I don't blame you. Yeah.
They get a hefty discount.
Yeah.
Very hefty.
But that's on you, right? That's on you to decide that discount. Yeah.
It's because I love my friends.
Yeah. But if you have a friend that says, "Okay, dude, you're my buddy, whatever, everybody pays you your rate," right? And I just guessed $250. I don't know what it is, but you have a complete stranger come in and say, "Man, can you give me a discount? Can you give me?"
Here's the funny
What's your
thing.
thought process on that?
Well, that never happens.
Okay.
Didn't you have
okay.
a fighter?
Huh?
Some fighter that came in and said,
He said, "I'm
asked
gonna
for free
be
work.
a big deal."
oh
one day.
yeah, amateur.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't me. It was a friend of mine.
Oh, it was.
It was a friend of mine. Another.
I'm
going to
be a big deal one day, so you should give me a discount.
He said, "I'm going to be in the UFC. You want to sponsor me?"
Nope. Sorry, did I answer too quick?
You answered
You answered
correctly.
correctly. Yeah.
Well, good thing my friend is he's such a good dude. He was like, "I'm down. Like, it'd be cool to have my work. If he says he's gonna be a UFC fighter,
Right.
He's just a good guy like that. But he also loves the type of style that he does. That he's willing to do it for free to just so his work can be seen on the UFC.
Okay. Okay.
but that
so-
kid's not in the UFC.
Yeah, that kid. Yeah,
Maybe.
I would have had.
He
I would
has
have had
a
a.
good chance though.
Yeah.
I would have had a million questions for that kid. I would ask him his training schedule, what he eats. Does he smoke weed? Does he do drugs? Does he drink alcohol? If any of those are
What's your
not
record?
good,
What's
what's
your
your
amateur
record?
record?
Like, what do you have coming up? Who's your coach? Where do you train? I'd have had a million questions for that kid. He would have probably left and be like, "You're not worth my time. Thank you."
This just reminded me of when I first started training at the lab. Do you know who Kyler Phillips is?
Yeah.
So Kyler was still an amateur.
Okay.
At the time, he was working at the front desk of the lab.
Wow.
And I remember I was talking to him one day, and we were just bullshitting whatever, and he was like, I don't remember exactly how it came up, but he said, I'm going to be in the UFC one day, right? That's what he said. And I kind of I chuckled. I'm like, yeah, and he was dead serious looking at me. And he's like, no, I'm going to be in the UFC, dude. That's what he told me. I'm like, all right,
Wow.
man, cool.
And he is.
And he's a fucking, he's going to be, I think that kid's going to be a superstar someday.
Wow.
He's so good. So
Yeah.
good.
Is he still suspended?
That I don't know.
I heard he had a fight. I heard
Does he have a fight?
I heard he was getting
They're really lowering the standards for USADA. They said even like the stuff that John Jones, the picogram
there's no
ordeal,
more.
is like even now it's not a thing anymore. Like
Really?
if that would have happened now, they said he never would have popped positive.
Yeah.
So they're chilling out on the USADA thing. But that was just I think that was 6 months ago or something.
John Jones would still call him a cheater, though.
Who?
John Jones? Or what's his face? Not Jones. Dominic. What? DC.
Oh, Daniel Cormier.
Daniel Cormier.
Daniel would still call him a cheater, though.
Would he?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Forever.
Yeah.
That guy
cheated.
sucks.
Jesse is
What?
he
You don't
is
like
a
DC?
huge UFC fan.
I'm a huge.
Are you really?
Oh,
okay.
I love it.
You don't like
Okay.
that? You don't like Daniel Cormier?
I
though?
don't like him.
Why not?
He's a big fucking baby.
About what?
He cries about everything.
Does he?
Yeah, and he's super biased on certain fighters, and the way he talks and commentates, he's going for a certain fighter when he's talking. And it sucks. I fucking hate it.
They do a little
don't like
favoritism in the UFC.
Yeah.
But that's also part of pumping people up, right?
Yeah, but Joe Rogan doesn't do that. He's just like, yeah, whoever wins, wins. I just want to see a good fight.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
this is gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be. He never picks but he never talks like he knows who he wants to go for. You can hear it in Daniel Cormier's fucking commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're really upset about this.
Yeah. What's going on over there?
Damn.
What?
Well,
I'm just a big fan. I'm just a big fan of the sport.
Do you gamble in the sport?
No,
Do you gamble at
I
all?
wish I did though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't give a shit.
successful?
I don't give a shit about sports unless I'm gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. There was one time where I bet Sea Monster $50.
That's true.
And this was the Manu
Tell me about
Nunes Cyborg fight, and we had a little argument. And he was like, Cyborg is gonna beat the shit out of Amanda. I was like, no, she isn't. It's gonna end in the first round. Amanda's gonna tune her up really bad. And I was in Vegas a week before, and I should have put money on that bet on that fight, but I didn't. And that was one of the things I kind of regret. I'm like,
Yeah.
I could have
You
put
made
$500.
$50.
That's true. You made $50.
Yeah, I
That's
did.
not a bad day.
It's not. But still,
not a bad
I
day.
was in Vegas. I could have bet on that fight.
Yeah. I think Amanda Nunes would beat the shit out of me. If I'm lucky, she might knock me out. If I'm unlucky, we'll get to the ground and she'll fucking choke me out.
You think so?
Oh man, she's so good. Like I watch her fight and I'm like, I can't fight her. She would whip my ass.
How much do you think she
Would
walks
you kiss
around
her?
at?
Probably like 145, 150. I
Would
would
you make
imagine.
out with her?
No.
I don't know. I
That'd
think
be
her
heavy.
girlfriend would have something to say
She's
about
fighting
that.
At, what is she? She's fighting at 130.
She fights at 135, 145.
She's retired. She's not fighting.
Yeah, but
Well,
she
now
probably
she's-
walks around 145, 150. No,
No, I'd probably say 165.
165. Yeah,
Oh,
so she's
yeah.
not
You think
small.
she cuts that much?
Yeah.
Would you
How much
fight
you
her?
weigh? What do you
Just-
walk around at?
Me?
Yeah.
Walk around 185.
185?
And then I get down to 175 for tournaments.
Do you think females are as strong as men?
No,
Okay. So do you think she
her skill
has
level,
that much more technique than
her
you?
Oh,
skill
dude,
level,
oh,
her
yes,
her
yes.
hand speed, bro.
Just tell her to put on.
Because
a gi,
physicality
you'll be
speaks
fine.
for a lot.
Now, but let me just say this. This is me defending a takedown. Okay.
Okay.
All right. He's gonna shoot. This is my brain. He's gonna shoot. Okay, he's shooting. Oh, there he is. Fuck, I'm on my back. That's how my brain works. So she would punch me like 20 times before I would do this.
You'd be host.
Yeah, I'm not.
Would you fight her just to say you fought Amanda Nunes?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
How do
You
you
have
think
sex
you do against her in a gi?
In a gi on the ground, it would be close. I think she's really skilled on the ground too, man.
She'd smoke you.
Yeah, she's good.
Is she though? Because she got choked out by what's her name? What's the chick's name?
Vanessa.
That was bullshit. That was such bullshit.
What was her name?
Her arm wasn't under the chin. Wasn't it? Was
Doesn't
it was
matter. It
Bullshit.
doesn't need to be under the
tapped.
chin.
No,
Yeah.
she fucking
A tap's
tapped
a
right
tap.
away.
Under
A tap's
the
a tap,
nose.
It was
Jesse.
bullshit. It was bullshit. She got up and she's like, "Hey, I'm good."
Dude, under
Like,
the nose is a choke.
No,
Yes.
no, it was such bullshit.
Did you see the Conor
Dude,
McGregor fight
under that
with
nose is perfect.
with Khabib?
Oh, dude, he was cranking his neck.
You
could
think that was a
totally-
neck crank? That was
Oh,
not a neck crank.
He was cranking the fuck out of his
It's not a neck crank, bro. That choke. What do you think, Alex? Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I
Nurmagomedov.
think he got choked out. I think he tapped before he was going to be put to sleep because that would be really bad.
I
for
think he
him.
tapped before he broke his neck.
And I think he sold his whiskey company just in time.
That is true. You got a good point. That's very true. He just sold that documentary to Netflix.
Did he? Yeah.
Saw that?
Which one? Because he had another
what
one,
do they
right?
call it?
Notorious or something like that.
McGregor Forever. I think.
McGregor Forever, yeah. It's pretty good. I watched the first
It
two
was good,
episodes.
yeah.
You got to hand it to the kid. He manifested that out of nothing, man. Because
No, he didn't. He worked for it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, yeah, but out of nothing, right? He
comes
didn't
from
come
nothing.
from money. He didn't come from like a big, giant school, like, anything like that.
Well, he knew what
just-
he wanted. He set a goal and he worked towards that goal.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And he even had the personality for that goal.
Yeah.
So he knew the persona. He knew what it took to get there.
Yeah.
And all he cared about was the money.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And that's all everybody cares about. Like, yeah, fuck the belt. Like, who cares?
Red panty
Like,
night, right?
It's the money, huh?
Yeah.
They call it red panty night. If you fight Conor
Yeah.
McGregor, that's your red panty night. Like you're
Yeah,
gonna make,
dude,
you're gonna make a bunch of
fucking
money.
paid. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So his next fight with Chandler, like, it's gonna be fun. But like, Conor McGregor doesn't give a fuck. He's getting paid.
Yeah.
Well, he already
Yeah.
made money off the Mayweather, so
Yeah, but to get Conor McGregor back in the UFC, he needs money. Like he's
He's a big draw.
not going there for
I don't know.
$1 million.
I don't know. After watching his documentary, I feel like he still has love for
You
it.
watch that shit?
Yeah.
I watched.
I was
the
in
whole thing, too.
California with my in-laws.
Oh, and nothing else to do.
I watched it.
Wait, tell me, you're thinking he still loves the fight game?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Based on
You wouldn't
based on
go
the
through all
documentary.
the stuff that you like, all those injuries, and still.
Yeah.
He had already fought Mayweather. He had already
Yeah.
made millions.
I can believe that. Yeah.
Think about. I think of it this way. Think about jiu-jitsu, for instance, right? Like once you've trained for an extended period of time, right? Not just come in, train a couple classes, whatever. Like that shit's in you, and you always think about it. Like even I've taken a couple hiatuses, like a couple years, and like I've always had it in me. Like God, I gotta go train.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go train. I want to go
Yeah.
train. But like if life gets in the way, whatever. But it's always in there.
Yeah.
And I imagine, especially when you've competed at the highest level, you've reached the pinnacle, right? And you've like achieved superstardom.
Yeah.
That shit lives in you.
Yeah.
It's never gonna go away. And I think this is what happens with like guys who don't retire soon enough.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like you're talking about, this thing that will never die in you. Probably when he's 80, if he lives that long, like he's gonna feel that feeling still.
Yeah.
It's never gonna go away, man.
Yeah.
I just think he wants that feeling. I think he wants like the roar of the fans, just all eyes on him.
Yeah.
I think
for
that's why
sure.
he's coming back for that. Plus the money, he wants that all eyes on me feeling.
I don't know if it's the attention though.
Oh, dude, it's totally attention.
You think it's just the attention?
Yeah.
Chandler in one.
Chandler in one?
I think Chandler's gonna beat him. I don't think McGregor has the tools. I don't think he has enough tools.
You heard it here first.
All right. So
I'm gonna go McGregor too.
I
Second
got
round.
I got to make an adjustment here. I need you to slide just a little bit this way.
You're too close.
No, I need you to slide just a little bit. Right there's good.
You're way the fuck off the camera. Come on, man.
You're out of camera.
He's
You're-
slowly
Out of
rolling.
camera.
You're the best looking guy in the room.
He was
way.
gonna,
You really
Yeah,
are.
for
he was gonna
sure.
roll out the door in the chair to his truck slowly.
Oh yeah. By the way, I parked on the sidewalk. That
That's
says
okay.
no parking.
That's okay.
Told
And
you, bitches.
The chair's just going to be spinning.
Your dog. Your dog's gonna be in the chair with a headset on.
Look at me like that. I don't know. He left. What am I going to do? Oh my God. Yeah. So I think that when I first saw when I first got the UFC first caught my attention was with Chuck Liddell and oh gosh, what's his
Ortiz?
name? No, before that. Well, I mean that was kind
Ken
of
Shamrock?
That was
Eric.
kind of the first.
Yeah.
Ken Shamrock, Hoist Gracie.
No. Oh gosh, what the hell is his name? The natural
Randy Couture?
Randy Couture. And I saw
Before the Mohawk.
was it before Mohawk? I thought he had it. Then they
No,
do
like,
they did the
he
Ultimate
got a Mohawk
Fighter.
when he started. Yeah.
Yeah, they did the Ultimate Fighter, and then that was a big build up to the fight, and then the fucking fight was a spectacle. And I just sat there and I'm like, how are they going to top this? Like, how do you match that draw? Like all eyes, everybody's at the edge of their seat. This was they did an amazing job, and they just keep doing it. Mm-hmm. There's like different eras of people, right? But they just keep getting eyes on the screen, man. It's amazing how they do that, because I fucking lose interest quick.
Well, it's because they build up one guy, and
Yeah.
they talk about that one person.
Yeah.
So when I got into UFC, it was the Ronda Rousey era.
Yeah.
It was Ronda Rousey this, Ronda Rousey
Yeah.
that, and then I started getting to know all the other fighters, and then
I
like
just wanted to see titties.
no,
Well, that's
no,
part
no.
of it.
She was dominating. You were like, damn, how does she fucking do it?
Yeah.
But then
And they got her number.
yeah, people just
Yeah.
she's just a fucking judo bitch.
Well, I mean,
Let's get this kickboxer. let's get this kickboxer and fucking knock her head off, and that's what happened.
She tried to fight. She tried to do stand up with people who are like stand up folks. I mean, she's a ground fighter. I mean, she tried to box.
Well, her
Bad call.
coach at the time was that Armenian dude.
Yeah.
And he was pumping her up like she was a striker. And
Yeah.
like, no, man, you don't abandon your tool set.
Yeah.
Like your whatever your prime skill is, man, you gotta like hone in on that.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do.
And her mom was like, "You got to fire this guy." Remember that? Yeah, that was a wild time.
That was a kind of a bummer thing because I feel like Rousey, she could have kept running if she wouldn't have had that coach.
Yeah.
That coach really ruined it for her.
Yeah.
I would say she's probably, telling everybody to suck an egg now because she's working in the WWE. She's a celebrity.
great. Yeah, she's doing great.
Shit.
Yeah.
Way more.
Yeah.
Do you think she got sucked into that lifestyle, like the movies and all that shit? Do you think
for
that
sure.
screwed everything up?
Furious.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was on Entourage and like there was all kinds of stuff she was doing
Yeah.
while she was trying to fight.
Yeah, that's impossible.
Yeah.
They made her a household name, a big name.
Yeah.
So of course everybody wanted her at the time. So yeah, get her in the movies, get her in all this.
She
And
was only
like,
fighting
loving it.
once a year.
Yeah.
So
Wasn't
got
she
time.
like in Expendables? Was she in that movie? Like
I think so.
part
Yeah,
8
one
or whatever the hell it was?
one of them. Yeah,
she was
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Third
Fast
one or
and
something.
Furious like 7 or some shit like that, where the cars go from building to building.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did
you guys see that
Her
part
acting
10?
her acting was horrible.
Oh,
That
horrendous.
Horrible.
Everybody's acting in that movie was horrible.
Hey man,
But then
And
she
the
was
worst
a
part
fan.
is they can't even drive. Like they had like drivers to drive their shit.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
they can't
dude.
act and they can't drive.
in the movie Mile 22
I
with
still
Mark
watched.
Wahlberg.
Yeah.
She's badass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, such a good
So
movie.
it says her net worth is $15 million.
That's great. It's
And
good.
she's
I wish
making
I-
$1 million a year.
I wish I had
Good for her, man. No,
Like she's making more doing that than she was in the UFC.
and she's not getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vic
That's
makes
pretty good
just
job.
as much as that. He's
I
a
don't.
computer nerd.
Nope.
Yeah, he does.
You're a computer nerd?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is.
Nah,
No.
he's more of like a math nerd.
Okay.
He knows numbers and shit.
Okay.
Data. And
He
shit
works
like
for beep company.
that.
Yeah.
You listen to that podcast. That's
You
what
do
that was.
you do
data analytics.
okay. Yeah. That's cool. That's
He
really
looks at
cool shit.
numbers, Yeah.
Yeah. I might need to hire you.
Is it cool?
freelance
I
if you do
I
it.
don't know if it's cool.
Well, when you're in my position where you're like trying to dissect your numbers all the time, I wish I had his brain. I do not.
You have his brain right now.
I'm a blunt object. I'm more like a hammer than a computer.
That's fair.
So when did you have to start getting into dissecting all the numbers at your gym?
Day one. I'm telling you, man. Day one, you got to know your numbers. You got to know, what your average revenue per student is super important. Excuse me. And if your average revenue per student drops below a certain number, and we can share that after the podcast, you're going out of business, right? So you got to figure out once that starts creeping down, you got to start. If you don't know it already, you got to figure out what people are paying, because when you're doing discounts and you got multiple people and stuff like that, that's when you may have people that are training for $6 a week,
Yeah.
right? Because you're giving those discounts. So you got to know that stuff.
Did you know what you were doing when you said, "Hey, I'm going to open up a business"? Did you know what you were getting yourself into?
I knew I could sell.
Okay.
And if you can sell, you can overcome a lot of shit, right? So that's what gave me a lot of confidence. As far as the operations, yes, because I was really close with Paul Nava, and I helped him a lot, with the day-to-day stuff at his academy. Not administrative stuff, but like the coaching part, right?
Okay.
The stuff that was the stuff that you need to learn is, taxes. And, when you hire somebody, like that process, like you got to make sure you're taking care of them the proper way. Like they have rights, right? So you got to make sure you're doing all that on the up and up. And really, it's understanding. You got to really understand. I hate to call this, but it's a game. It's really a game. Like the tax code is written for businesses and not people. So you got to take advantage of that as a business, right? And if you work with a CPA who is like your fucking buddy, who's a tax guy, you're gonna lose, right? You got to pay money for a. It's more of a somebody who knows business taxes well enough that can guide you through how not to pay them.
Alex, how many accounts do you have in the Caribbean?
Zero so
Let's
far.
go. Okay,
Zero.
okay.
I hope to have 10, but no. But really, you need to find a tax strategist. Is what you need. Someone that can tell you how to use your money the right way and legally, right? So, everybody knows a tax guy who's a little dirty, and that guy will get you in trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
So would it be easier for you if you were your only employee? and you were running the business yourself, like, and you don't have to pay anybody. You just take all the classes. You do the front desk. But how hard would that make your life if you're the one teaching every class and doing the front desk? And
Well, you wouldn't be able to grow your business very well. Organic growth is great, but it's very slow.
Yeah.
So I pay a company that helps me market, and I pay them a lot. So, and I'm paying $100 a day for ads. And if you're running those ads and people are coming through the door and you don't have time to sell, you're blowing a lot of money.
yeah,
So you gotta have. I have one full-time employee. Everybody else is contractors, basically 1099s.
Yep.
So you got to get those 1099s going, teaching classes so that you have time to sell and grow your business. Because without people, we lose. Right? We don't have enough assets to carry us through anything, any storm. So you gotta have that recurring revenue going.
Do you have somebody that runs your social media?
No. I should. The thing with that is I have a really hard time finding the right person that I trust that's going to do it the right way. It's like,
Who would you hire?
gosh, man, it's hard because everybody's got a guy, right? But I would rather hire a company that I can fire instead of a buddy. That's where my brain goes, and that costs money. So, I mean, and if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your margins, you don't know how much money you're bringing in. If you keep spending, your bank account's going to suffer. So you got to know your numbers like every day.
Would you hire somebody who knows numbers versus somebody who knows social media?
Yes. So right now I'm in a position where I'm going to be teaching the majority of the classes. I'm losing a couple coaches because they're going to move on. So I came to the decision that it's easier to find a social media person. It's easier to find an accountant. It's easier to find this or that than it is a jiu-jitsu black belt. Infinitely easier.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to have that admin portion, subcontracted for lack of a better term. And then, I'm going to focus on the operations portion for a while until I find the right people to teach. I'm not going to be in a big hurry to hire. I think that's a mistake that people make. I'm in a bigger hurry to fire people than hire them.
oh wow,
Yeah. Yeah. If they're not working out, it sucks, but we all get caught up in this like ego thing where you don't want to be wrong. Right. So you tolerate a lot of shit that people are doing wrong, So, of course you want to train people up. You want to give them a shot, but sometimes you got to let people go.
Do you think it's important to teach? What classes do you teach?
As of today, I was just teaching 3 classes per week.
Okay.
I was teaching fundamentals, 6 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Starting Monday, I'll be teaching from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday. Starting July, I'll be teaching more than that. I'll be doing 21 classes a week starting July.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wonder because when people come to your school, do they expect to be in class with you? Or
That's a great question,
what I
man.
mean?
That's a great question. And the coach that I lost recently, one of the coaches that I lost recently, it really bummed me out because he was so good. He was a fundamentals coach, 1 o'clock, 5 days a week. And
how busy was that class?
dude, he had 15 to 20 people in that
Nice.
class
Not bad.
because he's so
1
good.
o'clock.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's all about consistency and it's all about like preparation because people can smell if you're not ready. You know what I mean? If you're winging it, it stinks. You know what I mean? People can tell. Dude, he was always prepared and he was really into it, but he was in tech and he got a job that required him to go in now. So he's not able to teach that 1 o'clock. So I lost him. But yeah, it helped that I had Josh. Josh Cisneros was my 7 p.m. coach. I mean, who can question that guy, right? He's got all the accolades. He's a great instructor. But yeah, for the most part, they want to see a black belt teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wonder because one of the guys that we used to train with, Dylan, trains at your gym.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Right.
Dylan, big
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
He's not that big. Yeah, he's got that.
Yeah, he's a big
dad.
dude.
He's
You're a big guy, Vic. Don't
he's dad
don't
bod.
sell
His dad's probably small.
because you're not
Dylan
300
is
pounds doesn't mean you're not
small.
a big guy.
Dylan likes to play with lapels.
Yeah. Yeah. When I roll with Dylan, it's like 90% of the roll is me just trying to frustrate him. And then, that's basically it. And then try to get a sweep here or there. But he's tough, man. He's a tough guy.
Yeah, two MMA fights, I
Yeah.
think.
His dad is a professional model.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
father was a model for Calvin Klein, and
No kidding.
yeah,
Ask him to see
Wow.
pictures.
Wow.
He'll know exactly who sent you.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see him.
We used to call him Bjorn, right?
He did.
Yeah.
You should
Yeah.
have been a model, Dylan. Yeah, God,
Dylan.
that guy's been through some stuff.
Yeah.
Because he was with us at Allied,
Okay.
and then he moved to the east side.
Yep.
Because he had some issues, some family things went down, and we, I think we sent him to Grey Wolf first.
Yep.
And then from Grey Wolf out to you guys because
Yep.
he moved out here. So yeah, Dylan's a great guy.
He's a great guy. Yeah. He's in finance of some sort. Or
He was,
trading.
and now he sells, like he was doing day trading.
Yeah.
But now he sells, he buys whole cars at an auction, and then
Yeah,
He's working for a dealer now.
Yeah.
He's a buyer.
Okay.
he's a buyer for an
He
auction.
still does day trading though.
He's got stories. He's got some fucking stories.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I got him all the stories
I got to start talking to him.
about going to parties with his dad.
Oh, I can imagine.
Did you
Model
tattoo
party?
him?
No, I didn't tattoo him. I
His
just
dad
talked to
talked
him.
to him.
I just talked to him.
His dad wasn't just a model. He was a model for Tommy Hilfiger.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a real model.
Wow.
No, I thought it was Calvin Klein.
Was it Klein?
Probably both.
I
A
thought
bunch,
it was
back in the
Hilfiger. Yeah,
90s or 80s when he was modeling, all the black and white photos of CKB and CK1.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was a
Like
real
that.
model.
No kidding. Underwear and shit? Or no?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Probably nude.
Yeah, just talking to him. Just talking to him about the parties he would go to.
Oh, I can't wait to ask him then. He's real quiet. He kind
Yeah,
of keeps
super
himself.
quiet.
Yeah.
You got to talk to him, get him to open up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
drag it out of him.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Dylan. So is Josh still teaching for you?
For right now, yeah. So he and Yaya have gave me notice, and Josh is going to see one of my blue belts through nationals, and then he's done. So yeah, first week in July.
Where's he
last
going?
week. He hasn't really talked to me about that. He just talked about he wanted to focus on himself and training and stuff like that. So
Oh,
He's probably making enough money now where he's all right.
I don't know. I hope so.
He's got he's got to the point I think where his notoriety is probably gonna set him up.
Yeah, yeah. He could probably do a better job because I mean his jiu-jitsu is amazing. He's a great looking kid. He's young. I mean,
How old is he now?
He's 22, I think.
oh shit.
Yeah, yeah.
At that age, do you think he's going to be like, do I really want to do this or do I want to try something else? Because he's still young to try something else.
He's going
right?
all in on his career.
Okay.
He's going all in on jiu-jitsu. Yeah, he doesn't want any distractions. He's got a really good team around him. You know, diet, strength, all that. And he's training at Queixinho's, so he's got that team around him. So he's gonna do well if he could just if he could just focus 100%, just give it his all, for the next few years, I think he'll do really well. I mean, but if you look at the brackets, that he's in, anybody can win it. There is no slouch, dude. Every single match is going to be a battle.
And he still tried too. There was a Who's Number One where he there was a scissor takedown. And
Yeah,
his knee popped,
yeah.
and you heard it on the audio.
Yeah,
And he's like, I can go, and they're like, no.
it's just now that it's getting better. It's getting 100%.
Really? That was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, dude, he's a tough kid.
That
But,
match
but, but he comes from a family of wrestlers, man. I mean, they're just tough. There's no excuses. So
that match at Fight to Win with him and Sam Nagai.
yeah,
Holy shit!
Fuck, dude.
What a tight match.
God.
it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have gone either way, and he was disappointed.
But that's to see that's just shows his skill level because Sam Nagai just won Worlds, right?
Yeah.
He's at the top.
Yeah.
He is at the top.
And the funny thing is, when you have a big fight coming up or a big tournament coming up, and you're in your head, and you're like, oh my gosh, you intense. Josh is like, yeah, okay.
He's so chill.
Yeah.
He
I'm
looks so relaxed
yeah.
when he goes out there.
And I'm
It's so
like,
weird.
so how do you feel about this fight coming up? He's like, good. That's it. That's it. No emotion, no oh, I can't wait, nothing. He's just like, yeah, I feel good.
Get ice water in his veins.
Dude, I've trained with a lot of guys who are kind of at the top of their thing, and there's something to be said about their attitude,
Yeah.
about how they don't really give a shit.
Right.
They don't give a shit about your accolades. They don't care about any of it. They're like, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna try to fuck you up,
Yeah.
regardless of who you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're good, but so am I, kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
it's really admirable, man. And yeah, when I look at his brackets, it's insane, dude. Because I'm not a jiu-jitsu nerd where this guy beat that guy at purple and blue, but I don't know any of that shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't follow the adult level jiu-jitsu, full disclosure, until pretty recently. Until my student, if it affects me directly, you got my full attention. If it does not, I don't give a shit. That's just the way. I don't have time for that. So I went to Worlds. I had a student competing at Worlds, and I'm watching the black belts go. And when Josh gave me the news, I was like, "Yep, I get it." I mean, you got to do jiu-jitsu all the time.
Yep.
If you're gonna compete, if you're gonna win, anybody can compete, right? You can win some opens that have like 4 people in a bracket, earn some points. But once you get into Worlds, no, there is no hiding anything.
Do you think the study of jiu-jitsu though, like this is something I've thought about? Do you think the study of jiu-jitsu in that you're teaching it to other people, right? Like, doesn't that give you? I feel like that gives you a deeper understanding.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, it forces you to focus on kind of what you're doing. Like it helps you build your skill because you're like, okay, like, yeah, I'm teaching it to these people. I have to teach them the most important aspects. But then you start thinking about the minutia and like how that translates into your own rules and what that means for you. And you're like, oh shit. Or you'll get done. Let's say you teach a technique, you get done. You're like, I fucked that up. I didn't teach that right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you think I left something really critical out.
Yeah.
And hopefully you have another class that you're teaching that you're not moving on, right?
Correct,
so you can
correct.
kind of correct that.
The beauty is when you are teaching jiu-jitsu, like you can teach the initial move to the class, and then as you watch them doing it and you see someone like add something in that you may have missed, hey guys, time out real quick, let's address something, a question.
Yep.
No one asks you shit, but it's like if someone had a question, let's kind of address that with everybody.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of fill those gaps, and you forgot like watching it, like you fill one of the little zeros and ones in the code, you fill that in as you go, and then like as people ask you, kind of remember some of the details you forgot.
Yeah.
So that's what's easy about teaching is like they help you remember.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's funny. Q does that a lot. He'll teach the same move. Like they typically work on the same move for 1 to 2 weeks, depending on like or same kind of subject.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Right. Which can be for some people with like me with ADD. I get like
ADHD.
Yeah, whatever. I get like, okay, I can't talk about this anymore. I can't. You know what I mean? Like, but he does a really good job of like he'll be teaching a class and then he'll go back and get in front of everybody 3 times, 3 or 4 times, and talk about the same thing and be like, hey, this is what's happening. That's what I'm seeing a lot of you guys do. Do this instead, whatever. And he kind of like he'll break it down off of whatever the thing is that people seem to be making a mistake or struggling with, which I think is a good way to do it. Not some coaches don't necessarily do that. Like not necessarily. I just looked at Jeff. Not Jeff doesn't do this, but some people will just teach a technique and then they won't refine it. Right? They'll just be like, okay, here's the thing, and they're like, okay, they'll walk around, kind of show people what they're doing wrong, and then like, all right, next thing, they miss the overall.
I always ask at the end when I'm done teaching, like, hey, did I miss anything? Like if there's another black belt on the, hey man, is there anything else I should add? And he'll add like what works for Josh, because what works for me may not work for Josh, but what works for Josh, and vice versa. So I'm not embarrassed or have too much ego to ask, hey, did I miss something? And then the guys add, and it's great. Like, hey, I forgot that shit. Thanks for adding.
There is a certain part of it that's on the instructor too, right? To find those mistakes that the people are making, that maybe several people are making, that you can go back and touch on, because a lot of people don't like, myself included, I won't ask a question in front of a class. I don't know what it is. I try to just listen, because I want to listen as much as I can. Yeah. And then when he says, is there any questions? I'm like, maybe I have this question, but let me try a couple things. Yeah. Right. And maybe that's experience too, but, it's hard to ask questions in front of the class. Yeah. So it is a big responsibility for an instructor to say, okay, I see this thing that is giving people problems. Let's try and address this thing to the whole class. Not everybody's dealing with this problem, but you may run into it at some point.
Do you feel like you struggle like grasping concepts like visually? You're more of an auditory kind of guy? Is that why you don't ask?
I don't know. I feel like I do need thorough instruction on things. Yeah. To perform them correctly. Yeah. I struggle with paying attention.
You're an auditory guy. Yeah.
So it's hard to say. I mean,
when you're watching so you have a lot of experience, right? You have a lot of grappling experience. Do you struggle paying attention because you're like sitting there going, get to the point?
No, not necessarily, because I feel like when you get in a room, every person has a different take on everything. Yeah. Which is that's hard to explain to a white belt, because like white belts are like gross motor skills. Yeah. Right. Like we're working on like the large picture. Yep. Right. But then over time, as the belts get higher, you're working on smaller and smaller and smaller things. You're working with more difficult questions. You're working with more intense training. Yeah. Or more intense teaching.
Intense.
This is an inside joke. We'll talk about it.
Okay, all right. I thought it was another dick joke. But
No,
all right.
no.
Well, it could be.
If you wanted to.
But yeah, I feel like, over time, like I don't know that because I love listening to people talk about how they do things.
Okay.
Just because I think that there's so many different ways. I find I want to hear all the details. I find my struggle with it is, at the end of the day, is like, does that work for me?
Mm-hmm.
And then can I actually implement this?
Okay.
Because I think that's what it boils down to for everybody.
Yeah.
Like is how Jeff does a triangle choke and how he sets it up. Is that the way my brain works?
Yeah.
And am I going to be able to recall that in the middle of a roll? Which is the difficulty of jiu-jitsu. That's why it's so fucking hard.
Yeah.
Right. Because you could have an instructor who you jive with, but they teach a technique, and you're like, oh, that doesn't fucking make sense to me. You know, like that doesn't work in the moment. You know. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a lot of words for not much conclusion. But
that's good. That's good. One thing that helped me when I first started coaching, I started coaching. I was coaching kids at blue belt, but I started coaching adults at purple belt. And what helped me was having a black belt in the room, periodically. And Dave Blau was, I don't know if you guys know Dave. He's a great guy. 2-stripe black belt, been around for a while. 6-time world champ, masters level.
Okay.
But I would be teaching, and he would kind of pull me aside at the end and be like, "Hey, you're doing a lot of stuff naturally that you're not talking about, like your foot placement, your hand placement, the movement of your body. You're not talking about that stuff." So I actually recorded myself teaching once, and he was right. Like I do things right at broad stroke kind of stuff, but I'm not showing the
minutia.
Yeah, the little change in my grip, my foot position, stuff like that. So that helped me a ton. Just having that person, I think it takes a lot of courage to step in and say that, especially if you're not like a full-time member of that class, to pull the coach aside and be like, "Hey, you could probably do a better job if you did this." And
Well, at least he pulled you aside.
yeah, no, he was cool about it.
Yeah.
He was
Well,
cool about
some
it. He's
people get
always been-
upset. Like
Oh,
if you
yeah.
critique.
Oh, sorry, that was
is that
my
you?
phone. Yeah,
I was about to blame Vic and give him a hard
No.
time.
But that doesn't like.
I have it on Do Not Disturb, but my wife gets to text me whenever she
nice.
wants. So.
No, but I think that some people get upset when people critique their teaching.
Yeah,
Right? They just want to be like, shut up and listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because the ego gets involved. But I think the sign of a good, one sign of a good teacher is you can walk up to them and be like, "Man, listen, like I'm losing something here, and I don't know what the hell you're doing." But and you can have that conversation with them and be like, "Oh, well, yeah, maybe I didn't teach that the best. Maybe I didn't offer them the best product I could have given them."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
yeah, I think that's a. I don't want to say it's a lost art, but that's an overlooked piece of teaching, right? Getting that critique. I think it's important to accept it.
Well,
right?
how do you grow?
You can't otherwise, right?
You have to. The only way you grow is by people looking at your thing and being like, "What is that?"
Yeah,
And they're gonna point at it and it's gonna hurt, but it's just how it works.
Yeah.
It's the only way we improve in anything. I don't care what it is.
yeah. Teaching taught me how poor my mount game was.
Yeah.
I started studying it because we have a fundies program, and it's like positional mount control for a week, and I'm sitting there. Okay, let's. I'll start teaching this stuff.
Yeah, I'll go to
And
technical mountain armbar. You.
Yeah.
This is stupid.
But then I started studying it, and I'm like, man, it helped me a lot. Now all I want to do is get to mount. Like whenever I'm competing or I'm training, I want to get to mount in 5 seconds and hold you there for the rest of the round.
You know who's got an awful mount to be underneath? Is that guy.
I bet.
I was talking about it to one of Jeff's students today. There's something about Jeff's mount that is suffocating.
Yeah.
It's awful.
He's got such a good mount.
Vic is like, yeah, whatever.
It is, dude. He's really
what do
good
you
at it.
what do you do in mount that makes it so? I mean, you know what you're doing.
He rubs his
my wife.
fucking chest on your
I've
face.
been under him so much that
I
I'm
whisper
used
to
it.
you,
Sweet nothings.
taste the rainbow.
He kisses your neck.
Yeah.
No. So from the beginning of my jiu-jitsu, my first coach told me that when Hoist Gracie was on top of him, it felt like you're rolling under a wet rope. And no matter where you went, something was controlled, and he knew where you were going, and he knew how to move himself to keep you from going places. And I've been thinking about it lately because I heard Josh talking about it a couple weeks ago. It's like being under Jeff is a pain, so I've been kind of focusing on what I do. So I'm probably going to teach basics from mount next month. So I'm focusing now on things I do in mount and making mental notes of this is what I do to control you. And when there's guys that are under me, I know where you want to go. I know all the escapes. We've
Yeah.
been doing this long enough. I know what you're setting up.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing of we're 7 steps ahead of you. And I think when guys go to say like arm trap and roll, they try to arch out. When guys try to move and they try to bump, I will pick them up off the ground and move them to where I want them to go, completely off the ground.
Yeah.
So and I'll pick you up with my knees and slide you over so your escape goes away.
Yeah.
Or I'll work on tying up your legs with my feet. I can watching that video of what's his name, 10th Planet guy. We were just talking about him,
Eddie Bravo.
Eddie Bravo.
Yeah.
He was talking about in his video, if you want a black belt from me, you have to be able to do this with your legs. And he could like completely lay his knees completely flat. Like if you're doing the butterfly stretch, his legs go completely flat to the ground. If you want a black belt from me, you better be able to do this with your legs. There's one thing at my older age is I'm more flexible than most guys half my age, because I started working on my flexibility when I was that age. So you guys in your 20s start working on your fucking hips now.
Yeah.
And when you're in your 40s and 50s, your hips will appreciate all the hard work you put in 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And you've talked about that before, is focusing on taking care of your body
Yeah.
early. So my hips are more flexible than most. It helps me in mount. It helps me with having a hard guard to pass by having loose hips. We call it jits hips.
What? There's a lot of inside joke shit happening, I feel like.
No, because Jeff told me one time, he's like, dude, he's like, I'll just lay in bed, fucking heels touching, fucking spread eagle, just let my hips fucking fall.
Yeah.
And that's asshole. Every time I do that in bed, I'm just picturing him because he fucking taught me that. I'll do that and I'll catch myself doing that in bed just so I can get that stretch going and my hips going.
Yeah, I do that laying next to him.
Do you do that? Do you do that in bed by yourself?
Yeah.
Looking at each other with endearing eyes.
Yeah, when I'm on YouTube, I'll be in bed.
Nice.
Why?
I'm just wondering. Jeff also does this cocoon thing.
He does.
I learned that from Saulo Ribeiro.
Okay.
So I went to Ribeiro. How do you say it?
It's University of Jiu-Jitsu in San
Yeah.
Francisco.
How do you say
No,
his name?
in San Diego.
Was it in San Diego?
Yeah, it's in San Diego. So I went to Disney.
Oh, you
not
went
Disney.
to-
I went to SeaWorld with my family. And that night I went to class with the Ribeiro brothers,
Shanji and
Sanji and
Solo.
Saulo Ribeiro. And the way they line up people to train is they have all the black belts all the way in the white belt line up on the mat, and they have the highest ranked black belt goes down and picks who he wants to roll with. And then it was like towards the end, and like, hey guys, you can choose to sit on the wall and you can watch. This is like the wall to watch people training.
Yeah.
So I go to the wall to like line up for the next roll, and Saulo picks me. Fucking 7 or 8 time world champion.
Yeah.
And there's me, 4-stripe purple belt. Let's go, old man. And this dude fucking raped me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it wasn't like a raping with like a bunch of positions. Like he got into mount on me, and he like opened up his gi and he put me in his armpit. Inside of his gi. And there's just 2 distinct things I remember from that roll. Number one
smell.
is how he breathes. How he breathes when he rolls. It's a very strange way of breathing. It's like it's constant breathing, but it's the exact same pattern the whole time. And so I start to mentally focus on how he's breathing, because that's all I can hear is how he's the whole. And sorry about breathing in the mic, but it's super annoying and it fucks up my breathing, like my rhythm. And then just his pressure and just how it easy is for him to control me. So he got in a mount, he opened up his gi, wrapped my face in it, and then clamped his arm down over my face. So all I could hear is how he's breathing, and I can't even breathe myself because I'm inside of his armpit.
Wow.
And so I took it back to the MMA lab when I came back home, and I called it the cocoon, and I'd put you inside of my gi. But the only thing I would add is I put my arm under his head and cup your mouth with my gi. So we called it waterboarding or cocooning because my gi is already so wet in my armpit. So I love doing that from mount.
That's so nasty.
You don't do it so much anymore, though.
Nah,
He only does it to his friends.
I go through phases.
Yeah.
So you open it up, you stuff their head in your armpit, feed the lapel through, and then
Nope.
grab with the other hand.
So when you're in mount, and the student,
Display it right here on the
student
table.
is below you.
Yeah.
I'm on my knees, and like I get a little bit higher. My knee goes into your armpit.
Yeah.
I'll just like fan my lapel open and just put you into the spot
Nice.
where the gi is like naturally just
Yep.
draped open.
Yep.
and then I just clamp all that down, and then I'll wrap your head up, or I'll smother you with my titty and rib area,
With your man boob.
my ribs.
You ain't got no
and,
chest.
and then but the thing is, round 4 or round 3, when you're already breathing, you're tired.
Yeah.
And then you can't breathe because you're sucking in your own air. They have a mouth guard in, so it's even more restricted.
Yeah.
And they usually tap out just because they can't circulate fresh oxygen, and they're breathing their own, and they feel trapped and confined. So I started calling it the cocoon.
Nice.
As
I like it.
well, to try it. It's a lot of fun. Plus, around round 3, round 4, you're super sweaty.
Yeah.
From all the drilling, whatever.
Gee's all
so
wet.
yeah, and their gee's wet. They're tired. They're out of shape.
That is definitely waterboarding.
In your sweat, which is
So
insult
gross.
to injury.
So gross.
Is that legal in IBJJF?
Sure, why not?
100%.
Yeah.
Tired taps, bro.
You just can't like put your hand on their face.
But
You
it's
can
not in
over the
face,
gi.
But it's
Yeah, you
if,
can over
if
the
it's
gi, yeah.
in my gi, and my gi now chloroforms you
Yep.
with my sweat.
You're coming home with me.
Be great to just feel them go limp.
That's happened to me. Somebody's put, not you, but somebody's put their lapel on my face and then grabbed the top of their lapel and just held the lapel on my nose and mouth.
Yep.
So
Perfectly legal.
Yeah.
That's
And then
that's kind of. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
just from so many years of being in mount on people, you just get used to it.
Yeah.
You find your attributes from you are in mount. Like, guys have amazing guards or side control, but I got really good at mount after about 8-9 years of doing jiu-jitsu. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, my mount's actually getting better.
Yeah.
But it took fucking 9 years.
Yeah.
You know, people want to get good at mount in 2 years. Like, nah, dog, you got 8 more to go, homie.
Yeah. It's hard.
Like,
Well, even Hodger Gracie talked about he didn't develop a good guard till he got his black belt. Like that's when it really started to come. You know, all that hard work started to pay off in that position. So yeah. So there's hope,
Yeah.
right? There's hope.
it's just hard because everyone shows up to the gym and they want it now.
Yeah.
It's like, why am I not doing this yet? I'm like, bro, you've been doing this for a year and some change.
Yeah.
Like, I have videos on Facebook from 7 years ago, and you just started doing this, and you're trying to be a black belt. You're trying to, why aren't you beating purple belts?
Yeah. You ever seen a purple belt or higher abandoned mount because they don't know what to do from there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah. It's not a good.
I
one.
have people that are purple belts say, I don't know what to do when I get to mount. Who gave you your fucking purple belt, number one? It wasn't me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what to do. Like, you should have 3 options everywhere you are.
Yeah.
At least 3 options. And I
Yeah.
teach people 3 options. When I teach a move or a position, you can go this way, that way, or this way. And then off of that way, there's 3 more off of that. And there's 3 more off of that.
Yeah.
You have to teach the steps, right? Like, oh, you're 4 steps ahead. You got to have 3 options. Those are your steps.
Yeah.
So
What is it? What is a position? And this is for the group. What is a position that you hate training? You hate training. Concept, position, whatever. I can tell you one off the top of my head, but I'll wait for you guys.
I can't keep anybody when I'm on their back.
But do you hate being there?
Oh, no.
Okay.
A position you hate being.
No, wait.
Yeah.
Hate
But
being
you,
in.
you hate playing. You hate when somebody does it to you. You hate doing it. Like, you just hate that position.
50-50.
50-50 blows.
Same.
I do one thing in
Worst.
50-50.
It's so boring.
Yeah. I get the hell out of 50-50.
Yeah, the problem with 50-50 is I feel it's a stalling position.
It is.
Nothing more.
Right.
And
Yep.
it's what guys do. Like, you'll see guys at Worlds getting to 50-50, and they'll sit there for 5 minutes.
Yep.
In the finals. And they'll sit there for 5 minutes trying to out-advantage one another. It's stupid.
Yeah.
That's the same thing.
That's a
with-
good one. That's a
the
good
same
one.
thing with lasso spider. No offense.
Absolutely not. I
Yes.
attack like crazy from
Oh,
spider
dude,
lasso.
I have watched so many things from Worlds where it's just lasso spider,
Yeah.
triangle, fail, lasso spider, other side, omoplata, fail, stall.
I'm so upset. But you yourself hate being in that position?
Yeah, I'm just like this, bro. I try to
That's
dead
true.
I try to dead my arm and then slide it down and
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
For me, it's deep half.
Oh,
I hate people who play deep half. I hate you all.
I like deep half.
Yeah, and I hate playing deep half. I study it because I hate it, and it's one of those things I freaking hate it. It's got zero application for anything other than being on a mat.
No, that's not true.
Bro, you would get beat into a fine powder if you
Oh,
did
well,
anything in a
that.
fight.
True that.
Yeah.
I don't.
You would,
I'm
your
a
face
sport
would be
jiu-jitsu
different.
guy.
I hear
don't
you.
really
I hear
care.
no, and that's good,
Yeah.
right? It's good for sport jiu-jitsu. It's like 50-50. It's good for sport jiu-jitsu. It has zero application for anything else.
How do you view jiu-jitsu in the sense of, like, do you view it as a sport, or do you view it as a martial art?
It's a martial art primarily.
Primarily.
With a sport aspect.
So how do you like to see it taught? Because people get caught up in the sport jiu-jitsu world, right?
You know, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of getting caught up in that world. I when I teach it, it's very much a sport lesson, but then I try to show a practical application to what I'm teaching. So you know, especially in fundies, right? And what I love about fundamentals is it. I guess I should back up. What I love about rolling with white belts is it forces you to play fundamentals, because you can't set up a spider lasso with a white belt who's yanking you and, you know, going crazy, because you really can't set anything up. But you can pull them into close guard, you can scissor sweep them, you can mount them, you can go arm bar. I love that stuff, right? So when I'm teaching, fundamentals is easy to teach in a practical application, because it is a practical application. When you start going into X guard and, you know, butterfly guard and all that stuff, you're teaching a sport lesson, basically, sure. Right? I don't know that there's a lot of street application to a butterfly guard.
Butterfly?
Yeah. No. Seated butterfly with a standing opponent, you get the shit beat out of you.
Oh, with the standing opponent. Yeah.
Scissor sweep, same thing.
Yeah.
So,
I think there's a lot of schools out, you know, without naming any, there's a lot of people we know that do primarily sport jiu-jitsu in their gyms.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And which is cool. I mean, it's great.
It's awesome.
It is a sport.
It's fucking amazing.
It's legit as
yeah.
fuck.
I love it.
And I think a really skilled sport jiu-jitsu guy could beat the shit out of most people in a street fight.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because you need a certain level of fundamentals. But I feel like there's a part of jiu-jitsu that's being lost a little bit. That is the martial art. That is that kind of Gracie attitude of, if I don't lose, like, or if I don't get finished, I don't lose.
Right.
Right. And I think that's really important. You know, I value the time I spent in the MMA world, because it taught me how to not get punched. It taught me how to avoid like really bad danger. It does make for not pretty jiu-jitsu.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But it makes for a much more functional skill.
Yeah.
Something that can protect you, you know, and potentially protect people around you, depending on the situation. So, I think it's really important that, you know, that we talk about fundamentals. You know, I think fundamentals are like they are the groundwork for the bigger thing, which is protect myself.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do it. Don't get me wrong. I do a lot of sport jiu-jitsu shit when I'm training and whatever with the gi.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fancy shit you could do. But at the end of the day, we got to realize that, like, controlling the hips is most important.
Yeah.
Right? Controlling top position, most important.
Yeah.
For sure. Mm-hmm. If you can get there.
Yeah.
A certain level of wrestling is very important.
Yeah.
You got to know how to punch. Right? You got to know how to move your head out of the way so you can avoid punches.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain things that aren't so much taught anymore in jiu-jitsu. In some schools, that I wish that everybody could kind of get in get all, I don't know, 20,000 schools in a room together and say, hey guys, like, we got to pull the reins in a little bit, make sure we're teaching people this stuff.
Yeah. Hicks and Gracie tried doing that. It didn't work out.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
The sport jiu-jitsu is exciing.
It is.
And it's fun.
It's fun. And you know, it brings business.
Sure.
You know, because parents want to see, you know, parents see it a lot like playing in a soccer league, right? But this is a competitive soccer league that's open to everybody, right? Not just a select few. So it really helps a lot. I think it's important for kids because it teaches you, you know, a lot of discipline, self-control, you know, a lot of and the self-control piece comes with, like, I've had kids, you know, their parents have told me that they've been in altercations at school and they were able to stop the fight without throwing a single punch. That's pretty awesome, especially when you have full control over somebody. You can do whatever you want, right? It's striking them, right? And they showed a lot of self-control. I like that. But, you know, I'll do something on purpose when I'm teaching fundamentals. I'll talk about, you know, a takedown. And I was like, now you got 2 points. And I see the room kind of go, that's weird because they're all new. And I was like, and then you pass the guard. Now you got 3 points. And they're like, okay. And then you go knee on belly. Now you got 2 points. Now you go mount. You got 4 points. And then they do this and you take the back. You got another 4. And then I'll explain to them why we use a point system, right? In jiu-jitsu, right? With the sport
Because the value of the position.
Because the value of the position, right? You can strike in a knee on belly, but they can block easy, right? You can get to mount and you can drive all of your body weight into your punches, and they're like, oh, okay. So there is some value to the sport aspect as well. You know, I think it's a good blend, right? But but like you said, some schools won't blend it.
Yeah.
Right. They're fully focused on the sport aspect of jiu-jitsu.
Well, and it's like you're talking about with like a deep half, right? Like, I mean, if you're not Ryan Hall, you're going to be in trouble there probably. There was a fight I just watched. I don't know if it was this weekend. There was a Josh Emmett and somebody else. They were the main event.
They just
was
fought
this
yesterday.
Was it this weekend?
Mm-hmm. Just
okay,
yesterday.
so I watched. There was two females fighting. God, I wish I could remember their names. Anyway, this girl she kept going into leg lock entries.
Okay.
And she was getting the shit beat out of her in those positions. Like she kept going to deep half and doing stuff like we're trying to roll to knee bars and stuff. And I wish I could remember what the fight was. It was on the main card.
Amanda Rivas.
Yeah, Rivas and
Macy Barber.
Macy Barber.
hot.
Yeah, so Macy Barber in those positions was just smashing her face the whole time. And all she had to do was keep a strong base.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people don't realize. It's like if you get a strong wrestler in a street fight, you're going to play hell in those positions, right?
Yeah.
You got to learn, you got to have some fundamental level of, wrestling to be able to protect yourself in those positions. Because if you're diving for legs, they're going to smash you.
They're going to beat the shit out of you.
They're going to punch you in the face.
Yeah,
It's just what it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, man. But again, I'm an advocate for both, and I love what you said last time we were having a conversation about how you want your black belts to have in common. I'm talking to Jeff right now, but you said you want all of your black belts to know how to fight, and I think that's really important too. But how are you gonna blend the two worlds of sport and functional? You should call jiu-jitsu, right? I don't know how you would. I think that's a poor choice of words on my part, but
A blindfold.
So
a blindfold is always
Literally.
for an entire month, the entire month of August, Vic hates it, but I call it self-defense month.
I love it.
I call it self-defense month.
okay.
And I teach all of the self-defense stuff I learned starting out in jiu-jitsu, all the hoist de Gracies, a lot of the Gracie stuff.
Yeah.
Not like the wrist lock standing where they grab your lapel, but at the end of my class, you're going to put on MMA gloves with the sparring MMA gloves, and we're doing jiu-jitsu with punching.
I can't wait.
You're not going to show up.
I can't wait.
And
Jesse wants to watch.
I probably I might do it on a Saturday and not during the regular week, but I'm going to have people show up in street clothes. I'm going to give you some sparring gloves, and we're just going to do an hour of rolling with strikes. But I'm going to be able to grab your shirt, or
You're going to do an hour of rolling with strikes.
Yeah, it's going to be like
Open man.
It's MMA sparring, bro.
Hard
It's a
pass.
hoodie.
Hard pass.
Like bring in your hoodie. Bring in like go to some cheap ass thrift store.
Yeah.
Buy a suit jacket, and we're going to let you grab clothes and see what it's like to actually fight with clothes on.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Like, oh, this wouldn't work in the streets with no gi. Oh, you don't wear a gi when you go to the mall. Okay, then bring this shit in you wear to the mall.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab and rip your shirt. So bring a change of clothes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fuck you up with the shirt on. I'm going to punch you in the face.
I think last year you did one punching glove for each
Yeah,
person.
it was one boxing glove for each person. So you could choose what hand you want to punch with. You put on a right glove. You can still kind of like cup.
Yeah.
Do the Jean-Jacques Machado grip.
Right.
A lot of underhooks and overhooks. But once you're not underhook, you can sock somebody in the face with a boxing glove on. It kind of makes you think twice about going for certain moves.
Yeah.
And I do it for a whole month, and some people enjoy it, and some people are like, "This is stupid," like this guy.
Yeah, pause my membership, please.
But it really opens up people's eyes to actual punching with rolling with strikes. And I say punch as hard as you want to get punched.
Yeah.
Like give what you want to get.
Yeah.
And people go for less triangles, and people go for less stupid attacks and shit that actually works. You'll find out real quick what works with your jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So that's how I know. And then when I go to promote you, I think I've told you this before, my blue belts have to do 45 minutes or to 50 minutes of just round after round after round after round with a brand new person.
Is that regardless of age?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. like
I didn't have to do that.
Like my kids in my kids class don't do it, but my blue belts and my purple belts get blindfolded for 45 minutes. But by the time I have to promote a purple belt, I'll have my combat rooms. I'm just going to put you in a combat room with a blindfold on, and you're going to get put in a bad position in a room.
Yeah.
And Josh will pop in, and then Vic will pop in next round, and then I'll pop in after that, and then I'll put a white belt on you, and you won't know who you're fighting, unless they say something or they breathe. Like, I could tell how this dude breathes. Like, I'm sure you
trained
rolled with
together
your
for a long
students
time.
enough. You know.
Are
it
you a
sounds
mouth
like.
breather? Your mouth?
Maybe. I don't know.
It just
Jeff had to have
the
to tell me
sound
that,
of
I
your
don't know.
exhale, I can know who it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure at black belt, I like to roll with my eyes closed a lot. And people look at me and they're like, why are your eyes closed? Because I don't have to see you to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I can tell by how you're breathing who I'm rolling with. I can hear people around me. And it makes you really focus on what your body and their body's doing if you're rolling with your eyes closed.
Yeah.
Is that something you have your students do? You tell people to roll with their eyes closed?
No. I mean, if people ask me, like, when they're having trouble, like, controlling other people, I'll recommend it because you got to get that feel. I think one mistake people make is they kind of anticipate instead of feel. There's value to the anticipation, but if you're wrong, you're fucked, right? So I think the feel aspect is way better, and that's how I roll. I don't necessarily close my eyes, but I try to feel what the person's doing. I try to feel like when they get tense, or listen to their breathing. I try to kind of find their tell. If they do 3 quick breaths before they go, I know they're going when I hear the 3 quick breaths, that type of stuff. So yeah, I do sometimes recommend that, but it just depends on the person. Like, he's an auditory learner just by hearing him talk. So I'm going to teach him differently than I would teach somebody who's more of a visual guy.
Something that we did in the Army, we didn't have to, but we did it anyways because you watch movies of guys like putting weapons together blindfolded.
Yeah. Did you do that, like, hanging upside down?
No, that shit's gay. But like we would test each other. Like, we would close our eyes, take apart an M9, put an M9 back together.
Yeah.
Take apart an M4, put an M4 back together, blindfolded.
Yeah.
And then working in low light and no light situations where you can't use your little red lens flashlight, you need to be able to do things with no lights on, because there's a lot of light and noise awareness when you're on an objective doing something. And like for the Army, these guys always say, "Oh, you always bring up the Army." Fuck all of you.
What do I say?
When I said that? What the
Yeah.
fuck?
All you
You're
do
just
is
making
talk
shit
about
up now,
Army.
bro.
No,
All you do is
bullshit.
talk
Jeff,
about
quit
Army.
making
Jeff,
shit up, bro.
Yeah.
They're
I
not
said it.
They're not
I said
saying
it.
it. They're not saying it, but they're thinking it.
Yeah, this guy
Yeah.
says it all the time. All you want to do is talk about Army. So, but in the Army, we have to do stuff with no light.
Yeah.
So you got to get used to feeling things. And
In bed, I do stuff with no light either.
do you
jerk off.
Do you
That's,
feel
what
things?
that's all you do.
Nope.
Your wife doesn't touch you.
I turn on the lights for that.
But it's not
You
something
can't find it.
It's not something I started. My coach actually did that to me in North Carolina.
Okay.
A guy named Greg Thompson, and Greg's been working with the highest level of special operations for over 25 years.
Wow.
And is the only civilian to have a program of record that's in the military that people have to follow. So he's been teaching Delta Force for 25 years.
Wow. Okay.
Probably like the longest running civilian that would work with
Yeah.
high level guys, and he would blindfold us.
Yeah.
We would have to fight random fucking people jumping on you, and like put your head into the corner on the ground on all fours, and someone starts with you on your back with your head in the corner. Like, how do you get out of that? And you just got to fight. And this wasn't get promoted. This is just a regular day at the gym. And he would pull out handguns and put a handgun in your face. Sorry, how do we do gun takeaways? Put a knife in your hand. How do you do defending against knives? This was just part of my life growing up from white belt to purple belt.
Wow.
For 6 years, before every class would be a self-defense move like that. So I like using the month of August to show people, hey, now we just get to punch. I do a lot of knife and gun stuff, but it's more punching and defending strikes and closing the distance and getting the clinch and takedowns with strikes and stuff like that. And so that's something I incorporate in my school, so I know people can fight.
So are you going to have Josh teach the 50-50 for a month?
I trained a lot with Q on 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah, he forced me to.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want to be here. He's like, then you need to learn what's going on.
It's true. He's right.
You know?
Yeah.
He taught me a lot from there.
Yeah, he's a
Enough
wizard.
to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. That's
For
what I
sure.
do. Yeah.
For sure.
I do one thing in 50-50, I get the hell out of it.
Yeah, he started teaching me back takes. I'm like, bro, you're preaching to the wrong choir right now. I'm not the guy to be inverting and shit.
Yeah. Does he put you in 50-50 on purpose just to take your back and
Yeah,
teach you?
yeah, he will.
What'd you think about his retirement? From competition?
I mean, he's only retired from the highest level.
Yeah.
He's still going to do masters.
Oh,
he's
for
still
sure.
going to do that type of stuff, but he's still going to do super fights. So I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think what he's got going on right now in his gym, his level of coaching is extremely high. You don't get a lot of people who have competed at that level who can also teach at that level.
Yeah.
And I think his refocusing is, you're going to see a lot of people come out of his gym. There's a few guys there that I look at that I think are going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Already. And I'm sure he's going to breed more of those guys.
Oh,
So,
for sure.
yeah. And attract more of those guys too. I
Yeah.
think a lot of it's attracting talent as well.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to attract that because he's been in the game for so long and competed against so many high level people. You know, I talked to him one time about his little grudge against him and Gianni Crepeau.
Yeah.
How they've had like 9 matches together. You know,
Yeah.
they're very, very back and forth. And you know, there might be some people. I mean, before I met Queixinho, I didn't know who he was. But then when I learned who he was, I was like, holy shit! Like this guy he's been at the highest level forever.
Yeah.
For the longest time, you know. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's good for him. I think it's going to be really good for his business, and I think I look forward to seeing what he's going to do, man.
Yeah. He said something to me once. You know, people are, you know, just, you know, when you're frustrated, like you're putting in a lot of effort and you're not seeing the result. And he's like, man, it took me 4 years to podium at black belt.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? You know what I mean? Like, how's that possible? You know, but that's just how that level is. It's hard. Yeah. It's really hard.
I mean, it's millimeters.
Yeah.
From the guy who's in 16th place to the guy who's in first place.
Yeah.
It's millimeters.
For sure. Yeah.
That's a different level, man.
Yeah, man. He's a great dude. I've had him on the show, and
We had
got
him
to
on
learn.
ours too, actually.
Yeah, just learning about him, and he's so open about all of his stuff, so it's really cool. And he didn't start till he was like 15 or something.
Yeah, and I think what's cool about him is like he's actually a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's so nice.
Yeah.
And you don't meet a lot of high level competitors who are like that. Most
Yeah.
of them are kind of, you know, they're in their world, right? Their world is competition. Their
Yeah.
world is kind of like
Yeah.
like being the aggressive one, being the, you know, so that they tend to be a little bit different, like type A personality.
Yeah.
And Queixinho is such like a warm dude. He like, you know, he's easy to talk to. He wants to know what's going on. He wants to talk to you about things. He wants to dissect things with you. Like, you don't meet a lot of people like that at his level. So.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm very respectful of people's time, and you know, I only call him when it's like I have to know something, right? Something's going on. Yeah. And to his credit, man, he'll either take my call or he'll text me and be like, "Hey, I'll call you right back," and he always does. Mm-hmm. Like, he's got a lot of stuff going on, you know, and a lot of people want a piece of him, want a piece of his time, and he still makes time to, you know, call me. I mean, that's just a testament to the kind of guy he is. It's really cool. Yeah.
He's a popular guy, man, for a reason.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just because of his jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know, his attitude is he's a good dude.
Yeah. No, he's I can't say enough good things about him, man.
But he beats the dog shit out of me, bro. There's 2 people in that gym who make me feel like I've never trained once in my life. It's Aleph and Queixinho.
My gosh, man, yeah.
And like this, like when every time I've said it a lot. Every time I roll with Aleph, I feel like I've never trained. I feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like I roll with him and I'm like, this is like, what's the point of this? I don't understand why I'm training anymore.
Yeah. Now, does he do like that thing where he beats the crap out of you and then he kind of plays around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always a clear sign that.
Yeah. And
So how hard are you trying?
I mean, I try with him. It doesn't matter.
How hard do you try when you roll with me?
I mean, I try with you too.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm terrible at jiu-jitsu, Jeff. You know this. So, no, but Aleph, he's you know, he's that world class level. He's that Queixinho level.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
Like podium winner.
And he's not the only one in there that's at that level.
Correct.
There's a few of them.
Well, he's the only one who's close to my size.
Oh, okay.
Him and
Okay.
Queixinho. All the other guys are smaller than me, so I
Yeah.
can just hold him sometimes.
You
know, like-
Italo's about your size,
Yeah,
right?
he is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's a good dude too. He's a good kid.
I like rolling with Italo.
Yeah.
You're
How-
at the 40-year-old. I have a full-time job. Dad
How old
level.
is
Pretty much.
How old
Yeah.
is the left?
20. I think he's
Can't be
27 or 28.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a long time ago for us.
Yeah.
Like, and how old is Italo?
I don't know how old Italo is.
20s.
They're in their
Italo-
20s for sure.
Yeah, early 20s.
20s
Italo.
for sure. Yeah, those guys are half your age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, you're the black belt. I have a wife, a kid, a full-time job level.
Yeah.
That I only can do this 1 hour, 3-4 days a week.
But I like to think because I've
Yeah.
been training for 22 years, I know something.
No,
But then
you know-
roll
know-
with guys like that. But then you roll with guys like that, and there's like
No.
there's another level there
You
that
know,
you don't quite understand.
Yeah.
you know old jiu-jitsu from 15 years ago,
Correct.
16 years
Right,
ago.
yeah, that's part of that.
Yeah, but I mean, you'll have people like, you know, that are world beaters, and then they meet somebody like, you know, Mike Musumeci or something like
Right,
that. And there's
right.
just levels to it. There's just levels to it, and age matters. I don't care, you know, I don't care what kind of supplements you're on. Age matters.
You don't think how much time it's in the gym you've had?
Dude. Okay.
After a while, your age catch up to you.
Yeah, man.
So you think at 40 years old, Mikey Musumeci is just going to be like, I'm getting beat up by these
yeah.
young
he
kids?
won't be the same.
He won't be the same.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Queixinho's not an old man,
No.
and he's retiring from competition. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not at his peak, but he's not an old man. You know what I mean?
Right.
These kids are coming in at 19, 20 years old, man. There is a difference there. I wish you could see. Did you go to Worlds this year? Did you
No.
go? You need to just watch Worlds. Just go to YouTube and watch. The level is ridiculous, and people are stop playing 50-50 because nobody wants to watch that shit.
Yep.
And Josh Cisneros and I were talking about that on the podcast. The level of competition is insane today.
Guys are trying to win relentlessly.
Yes.
now, which is
Yeah.
great.
It's fantastic, man. I was watching, like, you know how you kind of take your eyes off and you're like, what the? It was like a guy's on his back. I look away. Now he's on the guy's back. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? You know?
Well, because these kids, they're not going for, hey, let me win by points.
No, they want to win in spectacular fashion.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, let
Yeah.
me try this flying arm.
They want to
bar.
highlight real shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
I mean, that's how they sell their, you know, that's
Well,
how they sell
you know,
themselves.
it's they want to put something on their Instagram.
Yeah,
Get
but
those followers.
I think it's beyond that, man. I think that's part of it, right?
Sponsorships.
I think it goes beyond that too. I think they want to be. I think they want to be legends.
Yeah.
I think that's where their head is. I mean, they see all these guys, all these legends walk around that are past their prime. I think they want to surpass that. They want to basically cast a shadow over that. You know
Be
what
the
I mean?
next legend.
Be the next legend.
That's still competing.
I think that's where their head. Why else would they go that hard, man? I mean, these guys are taped up. Children, in my view, I got shoes older than them.
Right.
They're taped up, man. They're beat up. Their bodies are battered, but they're still going hard, dude, and they're winning. It's amazing, dude. That's why when Josh says I got to focus on just training, I'm like, I get it. Like,
Dude, there was like
No
a
harm, man.
12-year-old kid yesterday. We saw taped fingers and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Your fingers already hurt when you're 12, bro.
yeah,
Come on, man.
Have you seen the Meow Brothers fingers?
Yeah, they're
Like,
gross.
that's like the telltale of
Yeah.
like what it's gonna be like in 20 years after jiu-jitsu.
yeah.
Your knuckles are gonna be swollen.
They are not thinking about their future, of
No.
course. That is
They're beat
nuts. That is nuts.
Yeah, they're beat up.
Because by the time they're 40-year-old, they're probably not going to walk.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, God, I hope they are because they're amazing. But
Right.
yeah, it's hard to watch sometimes because they're beat up. They're beat up pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'm glad people are kind of abandoning this. I think. What role do you think in all of this, like guys with high flying submissions, things like that? What role do you think Gordon Ryan played in that?
None.
There's a part of it that people are like really dig, but I really like that. There's two sides to the argument at the highest level. Guys at the highest level are saying like they don't want to be remembered as that guy that won, and they were on steroids. Because people will only say you won because you were on
There
steroids,
is
which
a
is a
big push against steroids right now.
and I
There is a
hope
big
I
one.
hope it goes through. I don't know, man. Like, made baseball pretty awesome. So anyway,
did.
but
Sports great, bro.
Anything will
Sports
make baseball
amazing.
awesome. Holy fuck.
Yeah, that's
but I
It's
think
boring as fuck.
I think
Fuck
pulling
you.
the reins too hard is a mistake because if you're in a combat sport, you're gonna have injuries, and I think steroids helps you recover faster.
Sure.
But you can't be juiced to the gills on fight day. You know, it just doesn't make for a good. I mean, it makes for a great competition.
I mean, I think Gordon Ryan's really open with it.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
But fuck, the change in his body over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
yeah.
He posted a picture of himself.
Yeah.
Well, part of that's pump lighting.
I know,
things like
but
that.
still.
But if you look at any sport at the highest level, maybe with the exception of football, because they got to peak, you know, for a longer time. But if you look at you know even triathlon, you don't peak for every race.
No.
Right, you peak for the most important cycling, especially. You peak for the most important race, and then it's just like you're okay, right? You're still better than everybody else, but you're not peak. I think that's a lot what Gordon does. Like ADCC, he probably peaked for that one.
Dude, I stood next to him over there
Yeah,
in Vegas.
yeah,
And I saw him, like, he had his shirt off or
Yeah.
whatever. I was like, fuck. His muscles had muscles.
yeah.
Did he
Crazy.
get hard?
A little bit.
You got
So
really
hard.
Did you kind of lean into him a little
so
bit?
hard.
I was more excited about being next to John Thomas
Yeah. Why is that?
because he does all those Instagram and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think like it was weird during ADCC because a lot of these people, like, they were putting all this stuff out during COVID. They're not used to having that many like this. Like John Thomas is regular dude.
Yeah.
He has like 80,000 followers.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who he is. I
But
think
then
it
when
was
you
a-
get out in public, you're like, "Fuck, I'm super popular."
yeah.
All
It
you
was
guys
like
know
people
me.
freaking saying, "Hey,"
That's
to
gotta
him
be
and shit
weird.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
Liz
thing-
Clay talked about that, going to the
Danielle
bathroom.
Kelly too. Yeah, I saw Liz Clay there,
Yeah.
but I've seen her.
She looks
multiple
really
times.
skinny now.
Yeah.
She's lost some weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's maintained lower body.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Danielle Kelly. I think there was somebody else who does instructionals. At least like that's big on the Instagram, but they were like weirded out by the amount of people.
Yeah.
But we're getting,
I'm sure.
we're getting these like true athletes now in jiu-jitsu, meaning that like people recognize you on the street, right? And I think that's the thing that changed. Like when I first started training, man, there was no fucking black belts in the
Right.
Midwest where I was
Yeah.
at. Like we were learning from videos and shit, like
Yeah.
literally training in basements until
VHS.
2000 and no, it would have been when I actually moved out here. So 2013.
Wow.
I trained in basements. I never trained in a real school. I shouldn't say never. I traveled to places and trained.
Sure. But your home school was not an actual school.
Not a school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a weird like thing seeing now that like you get all these celebrities like in the jiu-jitsu world, they're celebrities, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows who they are. But I really think that the reason that it's kind of like it's starting to be catapulted into the mainstream now is because of fucking Gordon Ryan. And I hate to say it because I hate the persona. I don't think it's good.
I think he does it on purpose.
I love it.
Definitely does it on purpose. People talk about him being an awesome guy in person, super nice and, really respectful. But like, man, that persona, but it's also the Conor McGregor effect, right? Like you need a guy to do that.
Yeah.
To like
Absolutely.
push the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, not only that, but also him winning every fucking match
Correct.
in spectacular fashion.
It
Yeah,
helps.
because
That helps.
John Thomas, he's a great instructor. His videos are awesome. He's got cool little details and techniques. But nobody gives a fuck about that guy.
Yeah.
You see him, you're like, oh, that's cool. Like he's here.
Within the
Cool. And you take a
community,
picture and
right?
you're
Within
like,
the community, obviously everybody likes to see him, but outside of the community,
Yeah.
nobody cares.
yeah, you got to be eccentric. You got to be, you got to be kind of an outlier.
yeah.
Same
Just
thing
what
like
it is,
what's his name? What was his name? Warzinski.
Yeah, Adam Wardzinski.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
way he was it Pans that he won in the last 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got like 11 points in 35 seconds or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But now he's just like blown up on the socials. Before people
This
knew
guy,
who he was.
John
but-
Thomas, the guy with the long red hair.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't watch his videos. Bro.
Well, he's got.
He has great
so
videos.
make your own then.
No, he has great
He
videos.
looks like a weirdo.
But his videos are good, and he's really interactive with people. Like if you message him, he'll reply. Like if you can ask him, like if the question's good, right? He'll reply. So that's
He's got
that's pretty cool.
115,000 followers.
Yeah,
He knows how to use social media to his advantage.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
but the technique is really good.
I think
technique is
yeah,
good,
it's really
but
good.
also the
I
persona.
think Cisneros is an example of this, right? Like Cisneros is incredible at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
Right? But he's so not he's not one of those dudes who's loud.
no, he's an introvert.
He's just not.
He's an introvert.
Like
Like
it's just what he is, and that's going to be a problem for him long term if he can't figure something out in terms of persona to make himself more popular. Like it's going to lose him money.
But make no mistake.
Does he care?
Make no mistake.
He might not care.
He
not
probably
everybody
doesn't care.
Not everybody cares about money and that kind of thing. But you get like you said, you got to keep the lights on at home.
Yeah,
right?
but when he talks about winning, he doesn't talk about winning by advantage.
Yeah.
He talks about he literally says, "I want to win in spectacular fashion."
Right.
That's where I got that term from
your-
him.
So your accolades will speak a lot for you.
Yeah.
But the problem is Gordon is like the main example. Yes, he wins all the time, but would anybody really give a fuck if he didn't talk shit?
Not really.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
think about
not
Hodger
really.
Gracie. Like, we all know who Hodger Gracie is.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Like any of us would fucking fall on the floor if he walked in the room.
Yeah,
right?
and Gordon calls him the GOAT. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Like Hodger Gracie is amazing, man.
Yeah.
But he doesn't got a persona.
yeah.
So nobody outside of jiu-jitsu knows who the
Right.
fuck he is.
Yeah, but he's
you know?
Hodger Gracie. Gracie.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is anybody outside of the jiu-jitsu world They don't know who he is,
Right.
really.
Yeah.
Maybe a few people who are
Nobody
kind of
knows who
nerds about
Gordon
it.
Ryan is either, except the
He's
jiu-jitsu community.
talked about on the UFC all the
Mhm.
time
All the
now.
time.
He is.
Yeah.
He's he's reaching these audiences that nobody else is
because
reaching.
jiu-jitsu is part of the UFC, so you have to have some of that in there.
Hodger Gracie is I would say that Hodger Gracie is probably, in terms of like jiu-jitsu skill and accolades, I think Hodger's leaps and bounds above Gordon.
Agreed.
Right.
I think
Agreed.
he is.
But
But
in
nobody
today's
knows who he
society-
is, and nobody's talking about him on the UFC.
In today's society, he's not. Now, had social media been out there when he was doing his thing, it'd be a different story.
Hodger fought
Different story.
MMA.
In the UFC, he lost to Tim Kennedy.
Yeah,
So
he
did
fought.
I.
And
Was
he fought
was
in,
social
he fought in
media
Strikeforce.
as big back then?
Yeah, I mean, it was
it
definitely
big?
it was definitely big.
Social media was
Not as big
back
as it
then.
is now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just depends because you have, no offense,
It's social media.
somebody outside of the community, sort of. Like, did you know who John Thomas was before I said it?
No.
Okay. I mean, he didn't, but he doesn't.
Oh, I did.
follow
I just didn't
anybody.
know his name.
Okay. It's the same thing.
I've seen that redheaded
Like
Jesus.
you
looking
know,
fuck.
you know.
I've been trying to get him on the show, so
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like Gordon Ryan because he's big.
Video.
Fuck
But
no.
like all the
In
other
person,
little
yeah.
guys that have like a bajillion followers, like you don't really. But just because he's mentioned in the UFC.
No, that was I knew of him before that, and his primarily his videos of him talking shit
yeah,
that popped up on my
Yeah.
feed and says you need to watch this.
Yeah.
That's how it came to me, and then I'm like, okay, this dude's talking shit. Well, let me see, and then all of a sudden I see him winning.
So you're saying everybody has to talk shit, or can somebody be the people?
you got to back it up though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
Well,
what
why
I mean
is
like
okay? So why is that shit pushed forward into my feed? Is because people are watching it.
I think
That's why
because
it
you're
came to me.
angry. I think
Because-
you're angry and you want to see like
No.
angry shit.
you know, we're
No,
just, we just
that
don't
is
like,
totally. I am not an angry guy at all. Mainly, my feed is jujitsu, and it's like fucking shit. It is
Gordon
people
Ryan.
fighting, and like
See, like do you watch
cooking
like
videos?
Do you watch like videos of like people getting pulled over by cops and they give the cops
Yes.
their business? Does he watch that one?
I watched
I
those.
a few of those. Yeah.
Think of this. Think
But
of this.
doesn't it get your heart going? Like you're
No.
angry?
No, not at all.
Even with your ethnicity,
This is all just like funny shit to me.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Think
Like
about
I watch
this.
people getting punched in the face. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Think about this. Do you follow psychology?
No.
Do you like psychology?
Yeah, I love psychology.
You love psychology. Do you know who Jordan Peterson is?
No.
What? No
Bullshit.
way.
I call bullshit.
I call bullshit,
Really?
especially if you're watching angry videos.
He's been on Joe Rogan a bunch of.
He
He's
pisses
a
a lot of
Canadian guy,
people off.
old. He's an older white guy. Talks about how
He's a
men should be
He
masculine.
sounds like Kermit the Frog.
He's a clinical psychologist.
Yeah.
Dude, so when I listen to Joe
Kermit
Rogan,
the
I'm listening
Frog.
to all of his comedy friends on there.
Okay,
I don't listen to
so
all the-
Okay,
I
that's
would
good.
I would argue that
There's a lot of smart people.
you are not the common person.
No,
Most
he's-
people
he's-
know who
He's an
Jordan
artist.
Peterson
He's not
is.
comedy. He's a super artist.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, that's right.
So
How are you on time? Oh, you got it right. Artists are never on time. Sorry.
Oh, dude, I don't care. I'm Gucci. I'm Gucci on this shit. So we can go as long as we want.
what?
Yeah.
No, no.
How are you on time? How
I
do
was
you
so
show
confused.
up here?
I was
Oh,
just
how do I
busting your
show
balls.
up?
Just
I was
busting
busting
Dude,
your
I'm
balls.
always on
Are
time
you
to
really?
everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
like for my appointments.
Yeah.
I'm an hour at the shop before, just
Okay.
so I can prepare mentally.
Okay.
Set up my station.
He's a
and just
superstar.
sit there and just sit
You
there
don't-
and focus on what I'm
you
about
say you
to
don't
do.
set up your station.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah,
No,
what's
I mean I don't. You don't have to answer. Okay, but I threw out the $250 an hour. Is that what you charge per hour? Did I nail it?
No,
Damn it! You charge more?
more.
I hope so. Okay, good.
Like
okay.
Jesse's like
Charges for the
like
day.
a high level like you have athlete. Like he puts the most intricate shit on people. Have you seen his work?
I've seen. I mean, the stuff on his arms, but I
No,
said
like,
no.
someone else did that
That's
shit.
not his
Yeah.
work.
But like Jesse does things that are going to be on your body forever. That's
Yeah.
got to be stressful as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like putting something on someone forever. It has
Yeah.
to look good. Like doing a portrait of your grandma.
Yeah.
Like it better
How
look like
nerve-wracking is that?
look like grandma.
Jesse
Yeah.
takes it very seriously.
How nerve wracking is that? Like portrait stuff.
It's
like
always
someone who passed away.
It's always nerve wracking.
Yeah.
Especially when they hit me up in the email saying, "This is my mom who just passed away last week.
Oh, yeah.
I want to get her portrait," and I'm like, "Ah, fuck." So I think what it is that the nerves really make me want to do better.
Yeah.
Than what I did on my last portrait.
Yeah.
So I really try,
Yeah.
and I'm focused on that. So
Whoa, that's awesome.
so
Is that yours?
Yeah, so an hour before, I'm actually there at the shop, like setting up, getting in the mental, in my mental head, and actually looking at the picture. Sometimes I'll stare at it for like 5 minutes at a time because I just want to see where the lines are, how far the shading goes, stuff like that.
Do you do templates or you kind of stencil a little bit?
No, so I make an outline of the actual picture.
Okay. Okay.
And it's really just a map.
Yep.
Like, hey, this goes here, that goes there.
Yeah.
You know, because it's funny when people see the stencil on them and they just see lines.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like, I don't know what I'm seeing, but like I trust you.
Yeah.
Like I've seen your work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you know, this is it. And they're like, oh my God, I just see these purple lines. And all of a sudden, halfway done, I actually see what's
beautiful.
coming out to be.
Yeah, man, you're good. That's good stuff.
So,
He's okay.
yeah.
Gotta be good at something.
yeah, 'cause I'm definitely not good at jiu-jitsu.
That's funny, man. Yeah. I know we talked about this before, but it was on your podcast, so I'm gonna ask again. How did you get into that? How'd you get into art and then tattooing?
So I was
My wife.
always into art.
Yeah.
And I would always just, like, my whole thing was like I drew with pencil. So I never played with color.
Okay.
So that's why I'm not a color artist, because my whole thing was like grab a pencil and draw people, which was portraits, because that's what I always wanted.
Is that the hardest thing to do?
Yes, because again, it has to be right.
Yeah.
It has to be correct. One little, you know, you put an eye, the pupil a different way, they're all of a sudden looking this way versus looking straight at the camera.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure everything's right. That, like, again, that's why I'm studying it before I actually tattoo it. So I hated my job that I was doing. I was getting paid good money, but I fucking hated it. So someone said, like, you're always drawing here. Why don't you just try tattooing? And I'm like, all right, fuck, might as well just try it. And then I started tattooing. Obviously, I started tattooing friends, you know, for free. Just let me try this out. They just wanted tattoos. They didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, they're young kids straight out of high school.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another, like, hey, I heard you're tattooing. How much for this? And I'm like, $20. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Then 20 turns into 40.
Yeah.
40 turns into 80.
Yeah.
80 turns into 160. And then I just kept getting better and better. And I started learning from different people.
One day turns into 10 grand.
That's right. That's right.
No, not that.
Wow.
Not that far.
That's really cool.
Jesse don't mess around with tattooing, man. He's really good.
Yeah.
I take it seriously because
I'm sure.
at the end of the day, I want you
It's
to
one of
be
my favorites.
harassed by other people being like, can I see your tattoo?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my goal.
Yeah.
That's my reward. So, you know, and I get a lot from people I've done sleeves on, leg sleeves. They're like, I can't fucking go anywhere. Like, I had one girl, I tattooed this theme of Bonnie and Clyde, and her son was like, Mom, put some fucking clothes on, because I don't want to be stopped every fucking 5 minutes when we're trying to just go to the store real quick.
Wow.
That's what, like, is still my favorite one that Jesse's done.
So that's my
Yeah,
goal.
that's really cool. Wow.
Yeah. So that's my goal, is just to, you know, I want people to stop you.
Yeah.
Ask where you got that from.
Yeah.
Because that's how I make my money.
Right.
You know,
If they can get in.
they can.
Yeah.
They can. Yeah. I'm not booked that far out. Yeah. I'm not.
But
Yeah,
time.
I'm sure, man. I'm sure. So, do you do your own booking, or do you have somebody help you?
No, I do it all myself.
Wow.
I only
Okay.
trust myself.
Yeah. So, do you go into a shop then?
Yeah.
Do you used to own a shop, but you
I
don't
used to own
anymore.
a shop back in LA.
Okay.
And then I got an offer to work for a real known artist out here in Arizona that was also opening up their spot. So I worked there. It wasn't home, so I had to leave.
Yeah.
And I went somewhere else. And this other shop, which I'm at, KnuckleHead Tattoo, over in Glendale, on 51st in Glendale. Been there for going on 10 years now.
Wow. Okay.
So it's fun, man. I love it there.
I don't know if you can say this on the podcast, but who's like a famous person that you've tattooed?
Jeff Cook,
Jeff Cook.
Jeff Cook is one of them.
Is that the first?
588 followers, bro.
And counting.
Mike Hamill is a Bellator fighter.
Okay.
I'll tattoo him.
Johnny
Famous.
Case?
He said famous.
Johnny Case, super famous.
Yeah.
Nobody really.
Okay. So nobody that like I would know. Like I
No.
don't know anybody, but
No.
Johnny
no.
Case is world. He's
Johnny-
world famous.
Well,
Johnny Case.
He's known in Japan.
that-
He's known-
I was like you tattoo Joe Byron?
Would I tattoo him?
Joe Byron.
Joe Byron.
We're gonna get
Nobody's
canceled.
super famous, but a lot of wealthy people. Yeah.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah.
all I care about.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to pay the bills, man.
They show up, pay the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. Pay up. That's good.
It's something I find really awesome about Jesse, that he's so good at something, but he's so humble, and you
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, I've had rappers hit me up like, "Hey, what's up? Can I get in?" I'm like, "Yeah,
in 2 months.
2 months."
Yeah.
He's very
Oh, I
loyal
can't
to
get
his
in now?
customers.
No, I have people been waiting 3 months. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that for you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
That's really that's hard to. I mean, that's easy money. To, I mean, you're. That's good.
That's
good
right,
that you're
folks.
doing that.
That's
I'm-
right.
I'm doing
Jesse's
it-
an idiot.
No, that's not stupid.
You're so stupid.
I think-
Okay,
I think
again,
if you're
that's only
playing-
happened a couple times.
Yeah, but if you're playing the long game, that's a game you want to play,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
for
if you
sure.
cancel
Yeah.
too many times, there's not going to be 100 rappers calling you. Can I get in? Right.
Right, right.
Correct.
Yeah, no, and like, and I've had people like, "Hey, will you come to New York?" Like, why? Like, I'm here. I'm taking care of my people here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to build a business in New York. I don't want to fly back and forth, leave my family, leave my friends.
Yeah.
You know, when I could do this all here. You fly to me.
Especially when you get home at 1 p.m. every day.
I know. That's quite the gig.
That sounded like
That's
a
a pretty-
hater statement
pretty
right
good
there.
No, he
That
hits-
was a
he
hater
hits-
statement right
He
there.
hits on me. He
You-
says I don't work.
You've learned why Vic is not on the logo for the podcast.
Very quickly.
He was left out. Yeah.
There's just some days when, you know, when work's done and you go home and get
Yeah.
to enjoy the rest of the day.
Yeah.
That happens to be like 4 days out of the week. I don't know, sometimes.
That's
It's
great.
almost, it's almost like Vic has those days too, but doesn't want to talk about it.
I don't
Yeah,
want to
no.
go. I'm good.
No.
It's like Jesse does his work to have to put out good work. He doesn't really do it for the money. He does it to put out a good product, and the money came after doing so much
Yeah.
of a good product.
I had to raise my rate to work with the shop.
Yeah.
The shop was raising their rates.
Oh, okay.
So they said, you need to raise your rates.
Yeah. So you give
And I
a
was like,
percentage?
No,
No. Okay.
no. So they're like, hey, we're all this price. You need to raise
Oh,
yours.
gotcha.
So
Okay.
that way you're not in competition with us. And I was like, well, I don't think my work is worth it. But if you're saying so, okay.
And then everybody's
That's-
like, "You're fucking
that's why
drunk.
Jesse's so
You're charging the same as the rest
so
of us,
humble.
moron."
Yeah,
Yeah.
which was like everybody was like, "Do you need to charge more?" And,
And
I'm like, "I don't feel it's right, but
Yeah.
if you say so, then cool."
Yeah. So I'm asking all these questions because I'm seeing so many parallels to our business, you know, the jiu-jitsu business. That's a difficult thing when you're not a Queixinho, right? Or Aleph or, you know, those guys, right?
Building
Yeah.
products.
So, you know, I open up my academy and, you know, I feel like I charge a reasonable rate.
How did you
have
set
to.
your rates?
I didn't really look at what the average was. I thought about, you know, what I put into this, you know, this martial art for the past 10 years. And I decided that, you know, this is what I'm worth,
Exactly.
period. And then, but I always wake up with the same thought. How do I over deliver today? Right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm grateful for my life. I love my wife. There's very few things in my life that suck, right? Even though it's not perfect, there's very few things in my life that suck. But, you know, so I'm very grateful for that. But the second thing I think of is how do I over deliver today? So I'm constantly thinking about, okay, so what's the next cookout we do? What's the next, you know, pool party we do? What's the next this we do? How do I give just a little bit more for that product, right?
That's integrity.
Well, that's just that. Like, you can go learn jujitsu anywhere. If you don't know any jujitsu, anybody can teach you jujitsu, right? So if you're going to come to my academy, I want to give you a premium product, and I want to over deliver on that. You know, and it's not giant things, man. I learned a long time ago. It doesn't take much to be better than the next guy. It takes a little bit more effort.
Right.
Right. If you're willing to work till 6 p.m., which isn't a fucking big deal, especially when you're in the military, right? If you're, you know, you come back from a deployment and all you want to do is go home, but you got to get this fucking shit done. If you just go do it, people notice that stuff, right? And then they give you a little bit more responsibility, or they trust you a little bit more, and you end up moving up a little bit.
How many jiu-jitsu gyms are out there now?
A lot.
And they
There's
chose to go to
everywhere.
yours.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
how many artists are in
Agreed.
Arizona and they chose to
Agreed.
come to me?
Yeah.
There's like 10 tattoo shops in the vicinity of his tattoo
I'm
shop.
sure.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
a
sure.
lot.
Down
Yeah.
in Glendale.
I'm sure, yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of good artists out there.
Yeah.
And these people that come to me, like, I'm really like thankful. Like, hey, thank you for
Yeah.
choosing me. So I'm gonna do my best for you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not only for you, it's also for me. Because guess what? Someone goes out, they see your work, they're gonna want to know who did it.
Yeah. Have you ever done it? This is a terrible question to ask. I know it's a fucking shitty question, but have you ever done a tattoo where you're like,
Yeah, there's been a few times.
Yeah.
But it's not really because of me. It's because some people's skin aren't this. You know, it's different. Like, there's some dudes that I've tattooed that have been working construction for 15, 20 years. Their skin is not like a 20-year-old who hasn't been in the sun for so long or working or getting beat up. So,
Jesse, how long ago was the last one?
how long? I can't remember. Maybe a few months back.
A few months.
Construction worker.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Guys who need to find out what lotion, who don't know what lotion is.
right. Well, you know, guys are guys. Some
Yeah.
guys are just like, I'm a man. I'm not gonna fucking put lotion on, or I'm not gonna take care of my skin because they think that's fucking some feminine bullshit. But no, like you gotta take care of your fucking body.
Yeah.
So, there's some dudes that have come out, like again from construction, just been in the sun, and their tattoo is not gonna look as good as, or I'm like, your tattoo would be much better if you had just taken care of your skin. You know what I mean?
If your arm didn't look like a scrotum.
Right. So I'm like, I go,
Yeah.
I did my best, but your skin just sucks. Sorry. Like
I assume
that's
you
just in my head.
I assume you didn't post that one.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Oh man, that's funny. Well, listen, guys, we've been going for about 2.5 hours, and my phone's about to die. You guys want to keep going? We can keep going. I
There's
just got to
plenty
grab
for
some.
Josh
It's up
to
to
edit.
you.
Huh?
There's plenty for Josh
There's
to edit.
plenty for Josh to edit. Yeah, man. No, I want to get some closing remarks, man. Again, I don't understand. You guys got to make a plan for your podcast. I love it. I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to listen to it. You got to monetize somehow. I mean, just do what you're doing, right? But have a plan, have a goal, man. Because I
We'll
think
just hire
guys
you.
don't hire me. I suck.
You can't fail if you don't have any goals.
Right.
Hey,
right.
that's
I'll
a
give
good
you
point.
that. I'll give you that.
I like that.
Like,
That's
I'm-
life advice.
If someone wants to give us money just for us doing what we do, great.
Yeah.
Cool. But
Well, there's people out there that'll listen to you, and they'll hit you up, and maybe it's not a good fit now, but maybe it's a good fit in the future, right? When you get more traction.
Yeah.
But there's opportunities out there, man. But why not? If you're, if you're gonna spend, I don't know. I spend a little bit of money on this thing, but if you're gonna spend the money, right, and spend the time, I think time is that non-renewable resource that you should get compensated for. Right, and if you're doing that,
I don't
what if
I don't have to get compensated for hanging out with my friends.
Yeah, what if
Yeah,
we just
but-
like
You know what I
it?
mean?
but
Yeah, we're
fuck
not
these
all as
guys.
rich as you.
That's the attitude we're looking
I
for.
make good money now, so
Yeah.
it's like I'm not really looking for that.
Yeah.
Maybe these guys are.
I
but-
don't make good money now.
I'm poor.
So like, all right, well, any of you out there want to pay my guys?
There you go.
My friends,
There you go. There you go.
How do you monetize doing this through YouTube or through Spotify or?
No, right now we're like I'm always hustling and I'm always actively looking for sponsors. I always hit people up, and I'm not big by any means.
How would you?
But why
charge
not me?
How much would you charge a sponsor?
So I'm talking to a sponsor. I'm talking to a potential sponsor now who just sent us some products that we're trying, and we'll figure out if we can make this work. But at our level, it's going to be like a what do they call it? Like
Local?
a code based. So hey, click and use this code, and that kind of thing. And
Is it Bluetooth?
no, what's Blue Chew? Oh, is that the dick pill?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I wish Blue Chew hit us up.
Hims.
But I mean,
What's the lawnmower, whatever it is?
Oh, Manscaped.
Oh, man.
Man, I feel like Manscaped does it for a lot of
Yeah, they
podcasts.
sponsor
Manscaped would be
everybody.
awesome. Yeah, but I mean, we don't have 1 million followers. We don't get 1 million downloads, and I just don't stop hustling.
Hey
man.
guys, start sharing this shit with your friends.
Yes,
Yeah, please.
man,
Like
please.
it's our listeners that make this shit possible by
100%.
sharing it and telling people about it.
100%.
Or
And
just fucking play it while someone's in the car with you and just
yeah.
you
But
know.
how many jujitsu products are out there that maybe you could do like a code for,
Yeah.
right? Hey, buy this finger tape or whatever, and use the code, the shortest hour,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I think, hell, man, why not?
I like to buy geese, so if you get sponsored by geese, let me know.
Cool, man. I'll let you know. Yeah. Black Market Kimonos. No, they're not a sponsor, but shout out to Black Market. Scott is a cool dude, and I owe him a phone
$115
call.
isn't bad.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We're going to wrap it up, guys. So thank you guys for coming on. I really appreciate it. I know it's not lost on me. You guys had to pack your bags and passports to get out here. That's
all good.
If
We
you
had
love if you love the podcast, please like and subscribe. If you hate it, please leave us a review. We're on everywhere you can get a podcast. We're on YouTube, and please follow us on Instagram. Otherwise, thanks, boys.
Yeah, remember,
appreciate
this is a jiu-jitsu podcast, not a wrestling or a judo.
For
Like-
all the normies.
Yeah.
And jiu-jitsu will ruin your life.
Yes.
Ruin.
All right, thanks, boys.
Thanks. You're the
Later.
best.
Thank you.